Oh, here we go. Don't forget to hit the like now. Welcome to the show. Oh, get in here. I know I'm running late, but I had to reconnect to Facebook. It was being ornery.
We are going to be a country no more. I actually think it will not. It will be a country no more.
Here I am like an idiot.
Action replays in magnified fashion. Free health care for illegal. Look. The Burmese executives. So these Burmese, they say, pronounce it Burmese.
I had to beat off.
When they gaze upon Yosemite. Michigan gave us Motown, gave us the Mustang.
Here I am like an idiot.
Dumps. They call them dumps. Big, massive dumps.
We're going to be appointing very pro-crime judges. He can do things with his tongue you wouldn't believe it. Heard that Saudi Arabia and Russia will repeat your... Our army manned the air. It ran the ramparts. It took over the airports. It did everything it had to do.
Okay, here we go. I had to change my shirt. Okay. All right. Let's see. How about this button? How about we start there? Welcome to the show, everybody. Mic is on. Everything's up. And hello to the chat room who is here and who is lovely. Welcome to HAL Sparks Mega Worldwide, the greatest live stream in the history of live streams. I'm HAL Sparks, and for the next God knows how long, I will be your House Sparks of House Sparkses, and House Sparks can House Sparks the way House Sparks can House Sparks. And I just want to say that talking about yourself in the third person is completely stupid, but I'm going to do it until I have millions of subscribers. So if you would like it to stop, you have one remedy. You can subscribe. Until that time, House Sparks will continue to House Sparks, as House Sparks can only House Sparks. Here at House Sparks Mega Worldwide, the most House Sparks Mega Worldwide show that House Sparks can Mega Worldwide. Now, there's a lot of shit we got to deal with today. Hi, chat room. Obviously, Milton is bearing down on Florida. If you're in the path of it, just get the fuck out. It's just stuff. You'll get it back and you'll have a story to tell. I would rather hear you complain for the rest of your life about what you lost in Milton than talk to somebody who's attended your funeral. Do you understand? Just get the fuck out. Go someplace safe or safe-ish. I'm not here to yuck anybody's yum. You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. And then on top of that, I repeat, do not listen to Laura Loomer or any of the maggots who are telling you don't trust FEMA and the government, don't follow their instructions because they're trying to kill you or something. Look, let me tell you something. You know how Biden's always talking about how if people are like, we need guns so that we can fight back against a tyrannical government. Like, okay, asshole, but you do realize we can microwave your insides with some of the weapons we have. If we really wanted to whip them out and do it, there's no stopping us. And thanks to Trump's asshole SCOTUS nominees, the president has total immunity to just cook you from space. But that said, if you want to believe that, knock yourself the fuck out. But I would also say that if the government, if there was some sort of like conspiratorial, monstrous internal government of Satan worshiping, baby eating lizard people, I gotta say, not only would they have a lot of ways to get rid of you that were super simple, not the least of which is, again, if you dosing a vaccine with a poison is way more expensive and specific than just creating a disease that would kill you and only letting the people who are smart enough to get vaccinated survive. I'm just saying, as conspiracies go, the QAnon maggot COVID ones are some of the dumbest you've ever heard. On top of that, again, if there was some big FEMA conspiracy to kill you, they'd just not show up at all. They wouldn't trick you into going to the wrong address. There's no reason. You're dumb. You'll stand there on your fucking rooftop until you drown. They could just count on it. Like, honest to God, they could just sit back in their office and play, do their own version of the Darwin Awards or some shit like that. They're not going to. Good people are trying to help you. This is all bullshit. And maggots are increasingly desperate to try and make Trump look like he's coherent and he can actually manage his own campaign, much less being president again. The dude is a fucking wreck. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is that. Other than that, I have no opinion. Now, big conspiracy. I don't know if you know this. Let's. This is the big question. Here we go. You ready? Here it is. Here's the big conspiracy, ladies and gentlemen. Check this out. I got to move this up so you can see the title. Did a Blackhawk helicopter target a Hurricane aid depot? Oh my God. So Joe Biden, and Kamala Harris have sent black helicopters down to strafe gun people handing out water in hurricane areas. Now, it has come to this, ladies and gentlemen. That's it. Real quick, just so I don't get kicked off of all these sites for allegedly promoting this nonsense or whatever, I would like to say unequivocally, this is all hornswoggle. This is goofy bullshit. But, if I could say in total Jeff Goldblum, it gets more interesting. Could be crazy. Could be fun. I think we're about to find out. So I guess that's the question we're about to answer. Now, this clip is 16 minutes long. It is not going to take us 16 minutes to answer this question. As a matter of fact, I think they're going to draw some stupid-ass conclusions, which is the only conclusions they draw on the Blaze, within the first 5 minutes or so. Let's check in, shall we?
Sure is on.
Oh, fuck you. Hold on. Hold on. First of all, why are my headphones quiet?
The vice president of the
What in the world is happening here? Mute that. I'm not hearing anything in my headphones. Okay, now I've got to do this stupid thing where I put my headphones back in, and I do this thing where I wait for them to be dumb again, and then I take them out and I put them in my ears, and then they reconnect. There we go. And reopen my software so that you can hear my voice. And hopefully I'll be able to hear this dipshittery. Hold on.
Cajun Navy.
What the ever-loving doogly-doo is happen? Okay, the main outlet is on here. Speakers out. All right, simmer the fuck down. Okay, so down stereo. Excellent.
Navy, the United.
What? No. What is going on? Why is it? All right. Have there been updates that I've not been warned about? Gosh, daggin' a doggity doo. Can you actually? You guys can hear me just fine. And you guys can probably hear. Maybe you can hear that audio, but I don't want it doubling up. It's annoying. Sound. Okay. Main out. Ah, you changed on me. You went to sleep and you big jerky weed. Voice meter and put 1. I think that's what it does. Yes. Now, let's see if it does the thing.
Cajun Navy. Brian, thank you for everything you guys are doing.
Okay, now you guys can hear it. Now I just can't hear my thingamadoo. Okay, so that's 1. And 2 will be... I think. Let's see.
And you are absolute hero.
I fixed it! Son of a bitch! All right. That was completely unnecessary, but this is what makes the whole thing... this is what makes this the greatest live stream in the history of live streams, is because yours truly fixes his own shit, okay? There's a problem. I got it covered. Got it handled, all right? By my lonesome. Now, one day, would I like a giant team to help run shit? Of course I would. So patreon.com/HALSparks. But until those times, by God, now only a little bit of this, because he's the only one I could find that gets to this conspiracy in a very short order. So here we go.
Ryan Trasher is on, the vice president of the Cajun Navy, the United Cajun Navy. Brian.
Which is, by the way, not a Navy. It's why he's a vice president of a Navy, because it's a private organization.
Thank you for everything you guys are doing. You are...
Well, 80% of it. I mean, I wouldn't thank anybody for everything they're doing, because God knows what they're doing in their free time.
Absolute heroes.
Mm-hmm.
Glenn, thanks so much for having us, and really we just want to take a minute to thank you and JP and the team over at Mercury One for the tremendous support and generosity they've been giving us throughout this deployment in North Carolina, and we hope to continue to keep working together in Florida. So thank you so much from the bottom of our hearts. Everybody thanks you, Glenn.
I want to thank...
Yes, everybody thanks you, Glenn. Now, let's get on to shitting on FEMA before this guy tells everybody that he actually works with FEMA and they've been great.
Please, it's the audience, it's not me.
Right.
Please...
Which is true. Mercury One, I mean, they use ad rev and stuff like that to pay for things like this because it's another form of PR for them. It's, again, cause marketing.
Don't let me forget before we go to talk about Florida and what we have to do in Florida. But first,
Sure.
Can you talk to me, are supplies meant for Hurricane Helene, are they purposely being thwarted? And what happened with the helicopter?
Yes. So big questions. This is great. We're getting right to it. Are they being thwarted? Or is there some thwarting going on? Is someone thwarting the distribution of stuff for the specific purpose of making sure that these things are thwarted? And what's with the helicopter?
So, I think I made the mistake of asking for new conspiracy theories for Christmas because all the ones I got last year came true. And so, we were on the ground.
Also, that's a fuck the government bullshit joke that's very popular around the Blaze and around Trump world, is that all conspiracy theories come true. No, they fucking don't. You lazy fucks. I'm sick of it. This is in the general realm of like Trump was right about everything. Alex Jones is right about everything. They're wrong all the time. They're wrong about everything. Even the stuff they're right about is secondhand knowledge, and it's their conclusions, which is the part where their brain is involved, where they're fucking wrong all the time. Alex Jones has predicted nothing. Fucking nothing. There is no, like, even fucking Don Jr. is talking about how yesterday's conspiracy is today's reality or some shit like that about Butler. Oh yeah, motherfucker, what is it? What have you found out since the shooting at Butler about Thomas Crooks that we didn't know already, that is somehow pointed in the direction that the they and the them and the theys are putting together some sort of plot to get rid of your dumbass dad? Cause there ain't been shit. And if it comes from anywhere, it should come from you. Where's that? When is that prediction coming true? Any fucking day now. Like, you guys got Secret Service detail. You get briefings on your security. This would be included. The totally updated, how do we know this guy wasn't connected to other people, would be part of the regular update that Trump gets from his Secret Service, and fucking nothing. Now, there could be new details. There could be pieces of information that probably the rest of us would like to hear that they're not sharing specifically because the deeper they dig, the more they find out that this dumbass was, a disgruntled Trumpy. So I can understand why they want to keep their fucking mouth shut. Now, I'm okay. But this whole, like, lazy, conspiracy, it's only a conspiracy theory until your clock strikes 12. Fuck me.
I'm pretty early in Florida. We always say that people have to understand that FEMA and the National Guard are not first responders, they're second responders.
Amen.
Amen. Eat shit, asshole. All right. The first responders are funded by FEMA, you dumb motherfucker. And FEMA isn't a they. It's an agency that coordinates the response. They have specific FEMA staff. They have specific FEMA personnel. But they also use the National Guard and local police and fire departments and EMTs and stuff like that. And FEMA gives them, as part of their budget, funding. So they're not the second responders, you dumb motherfucker. They're the pre-coordinating effort that makes sure that there's a first and a second and a third response when this shit happens and after the follow-up. So fuck you. God damn these lazy pieces of shit. Glenn Beck, fuck you for shitting on everybody at FEMA that busts their ass to make sure they're ahead of the game most of the time. You want to get pissed at somebody? Get pissed at the people who are cutting their fucking funding. And that would be the sitting House Republicans. Other than that, I have no opinion.
Responders locally, the local first responders are also victims, so they're not always fully up to speed. So that's why we put...
Okay, that's not a first responder. That's a person in the emergency. They're not responding. They're in it, dumbass. If you are in a car accident and you cut your car's gone into the fucking river, and you cut your seatbelt and you're getting the other person out and you're pulling them out, you're not a first responder. You're in it, dumbass. The first responder is whoever reaches you first that wasn't involved in whatever the fuck was happening. That's why it's called a response. Jesus, this is lazy.
First shrimp boots on the ground and get to work right away. The good thing about the United Cajun Navy is that we don't have to ask our lawyers for permission to do anything. We just ask them to show up to the bond hearing later.
All right. Also, more macho bullshit. Bullshit. This is bullshit. And you'll see, because the United Cajun Navy and a bunch of these other, like Samaritan's Purse and these other groups that work with funding from Mercury One, you think Mercury One, the radio network that runs Glenn Beck's show, it doesn't vet the organizations that they work with so that they don't get into legal trouble because they finance a bunch of fucking looters going into a disaster zone? Do you think they don't actually go through that fucking process? The fact that this asshole even says they have lawyers means they pay attention to this shit. It's macho horseshit. And it's so, like, degrading to the people that actually do the fucking work. Jesus. It's like, and again, this is the kind of bullshit conversations assholes have like this on the golf course with Trump and Beck.
And we'll deal with it. So anyhow, when we first got down there, we were hearing reports about people getting stopped and getting, impeding the relief efforts. It didn't happen to us.
Yeah, so you heard it. It didn't happen to you because I guess you were the third responders in this particular section. So let's say first people that are there, that's your first responders, according to you. FEMA is a second responder. That would be the group, in theory, that would hinder other people coming in. There would be if FEMA's not in there yet, right? This is the timeline you're fucking setting up. This is so fucking lame. Who's impeding it, if not government agencies that are filling a bureaucracy? That means you came after. You came third, you dumb motherfucker.
We have an existing relationship with FEMA and the Red Cross.
Oh, son of a bitch. Just say that again.
Relief efforts. It didn't happen to us. We have an existing relationship with FEMA and the Red Cross and a lot of agencies, so they know who we are. And so we weren't really experiencing it like other people were. We were getting reports of it for sure.
You don't fucking say. So you didn't have a problem because FEMA's the second responders and they're already there and you have to coordinate your shit with them. And so fucking. Ooh, buddy. Shit. Okay. Motherfucker, say personal relationship again.
But then we started getting frantic calls and texts and pictures and stuff sent to us from our volunteers over at that site saying, what in the hell's happening? This, they said that this Blackhawk did a low pass, like he was going to land, and they started giving him the X signs with their arms saying, it's a no land zone. And he kept coming down and, look, I wasn't there myself, but
yeah, hey, man, you don't have to be there yourself. You weren't there when the people were interrupted. None of this has happened to you. So you're the perfect fucking guy. You're the perfect fucking guy to tell us all what it really means. You weren't there to see it. You're getting all this third hand, Mr. Second Responder.
Watched the video a bunch of times. I am a pilot. I'm a fixed-wing pilot, not helicopter, but...
airplane. That's what he means, fixed wing. It just say airplane pilot, not... Oh, boy.
It does look to me like, first of all, he was flying too low. FAA says you have to stay 500 feet over any structure or person. That's just a day one rule. But it looks like he does a...
Unless you're landing... In which case, maybe it's a dumbass trying to land where he's not supposed to land, or there was supposed to be a spot where he could land, and a bunch of people had set up a bunch of shit on the landing zone, or he was having problems, and they said, move over to this blank space, and when he flew over the hill to get to this landing zone, holy shit, there's a bunch of people with stacks of boxes there. I don't know. You know what? Fuck it. Nah, never mind. Tell us how the fucking government, the fucking Illuminati... sends two assassins after Trump and they both miss, and they send black helicopters and all they do is knock over a bunch of fucking boxes with rotor wash. Yeah, I'm real fucking scared of the Illuma fucking naughty now.
A left bank and then aft pitch which increased,
Pitch your own aft.
in my opinion, the strength of the rotary wash that you saw blowing all the materials in the tents everywhere. And then he pitched forward and took off. So I really don't, everybody's been sending us information on the aircraft. They're saying, I don't want to say like, because we don't know for sure, but they think they know.
All right. They don't know for sure. Okay, cool. We've established that as a reality. Now, who thinks this asshole might start speculating on who it is and why and what they were doing and what it means and all this stuff, even though he has no idea who the fuck it is?
Who it belongs to.
Oh. Fuck you, buddy.
Where it came from.
Oh. He's just trying to make me mad. I kind of like it. I'm like, yeah. Making my sprinkles hot.
Nobody knows, including myself, what the
Keep digging.
intent was. Some people are telling me, the pilot just lost his situational awareness and made a mistake. I'm like, listen, Blackhawk pilots are the top guns of the rotary wing. The only...
That would be true if they were military. What if it's just some local fucking militia nutcase asshole who bought one of the fucking things because he's insane?
Blackhawk pilots that make mistakes are the dead ones. These guys are some of the best helicopter pilots in the world.
Except for the dead ones, I guess.
Seems like either we had just like a rogue hotshot.
A rogue hotshot. Pop quiz, hotshot. Your helicopter rotor is going, it's going clockwise when it should be going counterclockwise, and your Fazinger is trapped. There's a fuse blown in your Bangaladoodoo, and you're banking left, and you got your rotor wash, and you've run out of wiper fluid, and you're careening over a hillside, and you're hearing blazing in your head the MASH theme. What do you do? What do you do? Yeah, you rotor wash a bunch of volunteer bottles of water. That's of course. I don't even know why I asked the question.
Or they were trying to send some kind of message. I hate to go to.
Yeah, that's what it was. It was either what was the message? I don't know how to fly a helicopter. Film at 11.
Down that rabbit hole, but everybody's seen the video now. Like, I'm happy to hear what anybody thinks.
Are you? I doubt that. I doubt you're happy to hear what I think. Cause fuck you, buddy.
So I know somebody who has a Blackhawk.
It just all right. Okay. Hey. Well, what do you think the odds are that this was Glenn Beck's dumbass fucking friend? What's the over-under on Glenn Beck's dipshit buddy being the guy in the Blackhawk? Of course you do, Glenn. Of fucking course you do.
Believe it or not.
I believe it. I believe it. You surround yourself with self-involved pricks.
I didn't know you could buy them, but you can strip down apparently.
Strip down. He means with the weapons taken off. Thank God. So, did anybody spot any weapons on this Blackhawk at all? No gun mounts. Can't see it in the video. No surface to air or air to surface missiles, whatever they would call the inversion of surface to air. I give a fuck, right? None of the cool gear they had on Blue Thunder, none of that shit. Nope. So maybe, I don't know, maybe this might be one of those situations where you had a stripped down Blackhawk sold to some rich fuck who doesn't know what the fuck he's doing.
Do we know if this was private, at least?
He just told you he doesn't know where it came from or who was flying it. Now, I have an idea. Well, I don't. Hal does. I'll let him back in a second. Fucking.
That was okay. So my first instinct was like, because you're right. If you got money, you can buy. Well, you got money, you could buy anything, right?
Not quite.
You can rent a congressman pretty cheap these days, even with inflation.
Yeah, but enough about Chip Roy.
So, but somebody, one of our followers, like, got, was really good with video, and they were able to like kind of.
Are they? They're really good with video.
Close up on it and see the two pilots in the cockpit. It takes two people to fly Blackhawk, and
yes, it's called Tango 1 and Tango 2.
They said they were wearing standard DoD headgear.
You mean the helmet that comes with the helicopter? Standard DoD? You mean military surplus? The
aircraft does, if we think we've identified the right one, does appear to be registered to the military.
No. No, the military is not the Connecticut National Guard, which is where these assholes seem to be pointing to. They seem to think there's a Blackhawk from the Connecticut National Guard that's in the area at the same time, and so that must be it. So the, of course, answer to that is, fuck you, shut up, no. Just because it was in the area, there's a lot of helicopters in the area, including, if I may, there's an organization called Samaritan's Purse. Now, Samaritan's Purse, people know, is the... I'll let Hal tell it. Fuck me. This is where we go back to here. Hold on. Go back to there. So, Samaritan's Purse, for those of you that don't know, is the organization that brings disaster relief. It's a Christian organization that Franklin Graham runs. Or overseas, or gets a paycheck from, I don't know what the fuck, that brings in, anytime there's, an emergency or disaster, they bring food supplies and stuff like that. They organize charity work and whatever. That's fine. Trump came in with them, if you'll recall, just recently, and took credit for bringing the stuff down. He's like, we have all these trucks, we nothing. He didn't donate to them, he didn't give them any stuff, he didn't provide any gear, he didn't fuel up the trucks, he didn't do shit. He didn't even pay for the fucking podium that's in front of him while he was giving this press conference in the disaster relief, okay? So fuck him, he didn't have anything to do with it. On top of that, Samaritan's Purse has a Blackhawk helicopter. They own several helicopters, one of which is a Blackhawk helicopter. Now, am I saying that that was a fuck up by Samaritan's Purse's Blackhawk helicopter? No. I'm just telling you it was a Blackhawk helicopter in the area that is trying to get out and ahead of the government stuff and may have not known where it was going. Now, are they the only ones? Of course not. Do I have a better suspect? Perhaps. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you...
That's been doing the work on the ground is Samaritan's Purse. I had the opportunity to go up in a Blackhawk with them yesterday. Here's a little bit of that.
Yeah. It was Fox and Friends.
They just filled up this Blackhawk. They had to give these folks as much of supplies as they need. And the goal is, based on your founding, is to distribute these products first to the church.
We always go through the church and these local fire stations, volunteer fire departments. And so when we get there, we'll offload it and they'll take it to where it needs to go.
Tell me about when you were
You don't say.
viewing the devastation. How bad is it really?
It breaks your heart. Any body of water, any creek, especially the rivers like the Tow River around the French Broad, they're completely destroyed, those communities around there. There's some that will never probably be rebuilt. When you go down to Chimney Rock, those communities are gone, but there's even more rural ones that just...
Yep. Ladies and gentlemen, now, is it Chat room, is it for sure the Samaritan's Purse Blackhawk with the dude from fucking Fox and Friends in it? Not for sure. Hold on. Whoops. For sure? No. But is it a better fucking guess than the one they're making? Yeah. You know why? Because there's lots of fucking footage of those dumbasses flying in and out of those places, trying to drop shit off, thinking they have a place to land, flying in, and then leaving. Fox and Friends, until I hear otherwise, I blame Fox and Friends. Here's to you. These ditzy motherfuckers. Yeah. All right. Now, I don't know if you know this, but Trump went back to the Butler, set up a fish tank in Butler, PA, and in his bravery and fearlessness, finished boring everyone with his standard stump ramble. And the 5 wants you to know that Trump is a survivor and he not gonna give up. Okay. You need to know this. Trump is surviving to fight for you, Waters. Well, don't do me no favors.
Making his triumphant return to Butler, Pennsylvania, the very spot where just 12 weeks ago, a would-be assassin's bullet grazed his ear and almost ended his life.
I'm still going with it was a piece of glass from the teleprompter. Again, is it, what's the big difference? What's the big difference other than bragging rights of a bullet versus a piece of glass? Like, that could have gone into his eye, killed him, right? I suppose.
A massive crowd gathering to cheer on the former
by the way,
and
the massive crowd is about 20,000 people. Just for the record. This is what 20,000 people looks like. Nowhere near as biggest in the area. Obviously bigger than the last time he was there. But largely because it was people from out of state coming in there. So, like, all the touring maggots.
Remember the life of Corey Comparatore.
Oh, by the way, can we back the fuck up real quick? I want to show you this. Quit it. Silly. See if I can pause this.
A massive crowd gathering to cheer on the former...
No, notice how... Do you notice how they, when this footage flies in, there's this weird zoom effect that Fox does. This is in post, ladies and gentlemen. This is what this is them doing. Watch this again. They could just show you the fucking wide shot of the whole thing, and if it's impressive, you'd be like, oh fuck. But they don't. They tighten the shot. Watch this.
It grazed his ear and almost ended his life. A massive crowd gathering to cheer on the...
See that? See that? Zoom pan that zoom in as they're moving, because the helicopter. Okay, that's done in post. That's not the camera doing it. That's them doing it later. Just saying.
Former president, and remember.
That's why it's got that warble in it.
For the life of Corey.
Okay, well, and you'll notice they cut right at the edges of the crowd, and I wish. Let's see if I can pause it.
And remember the life.
Okay, there we go. So you'll see it's pretty packed right here. This is the biggest jammed in area. This area is a lot less crowded. And so is this. See these gaps? Okay. And then back here, it just kind of dissipates completely. That's what you're looking at here. There's a big crowd of his friendlies. That's all packed in there. There's a lot of stuff for the media to see people. There's a big chunk right down the center. They basically organize the crowd so that the media sees a big bunch of heads and so that Trump can't see past this point. So when he says far as the eye can see, it's because this is apparently where Trump's need for glasses kicks in and it just starts to feather out. They're all like this. The one I went to that had 2,500 people in it in Vegas, where he's like, there's 20,000 people here. Same shape, same crowd shape. Most people were in here, but because it's Butler, they're here. But look at this, and this is all watery, but you'll notice that as soon as the camera starts to show you the edges of where it just absolutely empties out, because the field, here's the thing, the area that's partitioned for people is all around this area. It's ginormous, and it's fucking empty past this point. There's nobody there. Like, they allocated all this land, like, and we're going to need 80,000 people are going to show up, and they abso-fucking-lutely did not.
Of Corey compared.
Did you see the fucking cut there? And then this, just fucking gross. Like, this poor guy and his family, and, like, it's just, ugh.
Reserving a seat in honor of the firefighter who was shot and killed during the attempted assassination.
Jesus Christ. They didn't put it where he was shot, did they? Please tell me they, like, a seat in honor or whatever. Okay. But, Jesus, they didn't actually put it where he actually got killed, did they? Just fucking gross.
Trump kicking off the rally right where he left off, pointing to the immigration chart that saved his life.
Oh, you mean the one that lies?
We love Pennsylvania, and as I was saying, oh, I love that. I love that chart on this verse.
I do too, because I really love that chart, because if that chart was true, Donald Trump stopped being president in April of 2020. Maggots know this, right? By the way, hit the thumbs up, share the show, like, subscribe. It's HAL Sparks Mega Worldwide. And maggots, yeah, I know we have some maggots out here. You guys, pop your head out of the basket of deplorables and explain to me why the arrow at the lowest point was during the lockdown, the primary lockdown, basically the tail end of 15 days to stop the spread, that shit. March into April, and then it just went whoop right afterwards through the rest of the year, and was as high or higher than it was at the beginning of January of the same year. Anybody they want to explain how he stopped being president in April of 2020? While you're at it, and I'll give you a second to think about it. While you're at it, maggots, think about this for a second. Explain to me, if you could, that if Trump could have made a deal with the Iranians a week after the election, if he hadn't lost, and he was still president for another 2 months or so, why he didn't just make the deal? If they were ready to make a deal, why not make the deal and go down in history as the guy who made the deal that stopped Iran from having a nuclear weapon and protected Israel from that? Why not make the deal? What do you think? The only reason you wouldn't, I guess, is because you think the incoming administration would not honor the deal, right? That they wouldn't follow through. They wouldn't live up to, they wouldn't do that, even though they had a deal to stop the Iranians from reaching a nuclear weapon. Before you came in, you got rid of their deal. So you think they're just going to do it for spite? I mean, they kept on some of the tariffs, right? So why wouldn't they keep an Iran deal that you had negotiated? Why wouldn't you want to make sure you did that? I got to tell you, if I was going to fight to say that I'd actually won the election, one of the things I would start doing is nailing down a bunch of shit that tells people I'm a fucking kick-ass leader and I never won't stop working for you. But he just kind of went, fuck it. Fuck them. They didn't vote for me. Fuck them. I hope Israel gets bombed. Fuck them. Because that seems to be what he said. Why wouldn't you make the deal? What deal? Well, I guess the other question is, what was so bad in that deal that he would have given to Iran to make that deal happen that any sensible administration, when they came in, would go, what the fuck is this? And shut it down. Now, I know there's another option, too, that I'm not thinking about. I know. It's over here. It's that Donald Trump can't make deals at all. It's why I couldn't get an infrastructure bill passed. It's why I couldn't come up with a replacement plan for the Affordable Care Act. It's why the CHIPS Act was totally possible while he was president, but he just didn't give a fuck. Didn't care. Never mind the fact that he was sending Putin fucking COVID tests, which, again, if COVID was a hoax, Doesn't that mean that Trump fell for it? Does that mean he's just a gullible dipshit? We'll save that for another time.
Very ground, a cold-blooded assassin aimed to silence me and to silence the greatest movement, MAGA, in the history of our country.
Why would the movement... So I'm sorry. You die, and none of those people behind you will ever want to make America great again, ever? That's your argument. That's what you're saying. That if you die, all those people behind you in the stupid red hats will go, you know what? Fuck America. I mean, they kind of already do. I mean, that's what January 6th was basically a big fuck America. But is that your argument? Just to clarify, I think so.
He did not stop our movement. He did not break out our spirit. He didn't break out your spirit. He didn't give your spirit pimples. He didn't break out our spirit. All right. And Fox, you thought that was a good idea. All right. Is this another instance where someone in the edit booth hates him? He did not break out our spirit? Has he been taking colloquialism lessons from J.D. Vance again? He did not stop our movement. He did not break out our spirit.
No, he didn't. You're right. He did not break out our spirit. I did not realize your prison was in your spirit was in prison. Our jailed spirit.
He did not shake our unyielding resolve to save America. I will never.
Well, I have to say, if it can be shaken, it's not unyielding. No one can shake your unyielding resolve because it is by nature unyielding. If he was able to shake your resolve, it would be just your resolve. Just saying. I know I'm nitpicking.
Never quit. I will never bend. I will never break. I will never.
Okay, first of all, you can't bend, dummy. You can only wiggle one leg when you're dancing anymore. Like this is the extent of your movement.
Yield, not even.
You can't. I'm not worried about you yielding. You can't even drive, not even a little bit.
In the face of death.
Not even in the face of this fish tank. I will not yield in the face of death. Well, you kind of will, I guess. I mean, you're touring around in a fishbowl. I mean, you're the MAGA Pope now. Remember when they put the Pope, the little Pope in fresh, the Pope mobile? I'm waiting for God to reach down. You know that dice thing in Boggle? I'm waiting for God to just go like that.
Itself.
And Trump bringing along a very special guest, Elon Musk making a passionate plea for supporters to get out there and vote.
Passionate?
Watch.
I'm not just MAGA, I'm dark MAGA. This is no ordinary election. The other side wants to take away your freedom of speech. You must have...
Damn, you have to cut this so that you can only get one fucking sentence out? Look, I know sometimes I stop every other sentence, believe me. But I don't take out the other shit. That's why this is, my shit's long form for a reason.
Have free speech in order to have democracy. That's why it's the First Amendment. Get everyone you know and everyone you don't know.
What if like you and your friends, you know a bunch of non-citizens? I mean, there's a lot of people that work at Tesla and other companies that cannot vote. He knows them. I digress.
Drag them to register to vote.
Greg, the line, as I was saying, is imagery and storytelling in 5 words.
Yes, it's masterful.
4 words that is brilliant from
4 or 5 words. I'll give her credit for for ...
from a campaign standpoint.
It was the perfect opening. Though I would disagree with him on that guy being a cold-blooded assassin. I always believe in my head that he was a brainwashed assassin curated by media-generated hate. Because while he's in Butler, the media.
I'm sorry. Did Greg Gutfeld just, I guess, infer that Thomas Crooks was a warm guy. He was just misunderstood. He was just confused.
He and the Dems are portraying his supporters as violent extremists who will riot and...
Hey, asshole. That guy was his supporter. He's a registered Republican. They did riot on January 6th. We didn't portray it. We just show it.
If Trump loses, they will riot. And if...
You mean like last time? Gee, I have no idea where we got that idea. It's just, you know, crazy. You know, it's this Hollywood thing, you know. We all have these big, crazy imaginations. And, of course, I think 7 million hours of Facebook footage of these motherfuckers going, we're here to kill Nancy Pelosi. I just pissed on a cop. He's out on, look at him. I tased him. I think he's having a heart attack. Right, yeah. I don't know where we get these nutty ideas, Greg, you fucking... shithead.
If they win, it's going to be worse. It'll be the end of democracy. But then you go and you switch over here, you see tens of thousands of people.
Hey, asshole. That guy didn't take a shot at Trump because he was going to end democracy. That guy took a shot at him because he was worried that he wouldn't. It wouldn't go far enough.
In a peaceful, professional, solemn event goes on.
In a, what do you mean? In a fish tank?
Without a hitch.
Well, I mean, I would call the video and pictures of Elon Musk jumping around like a dipshit a hitch. I would call that a hitch.
It's just another contrast between what the media is telling you and what you see to be true. I mean, this...
What do you mean? What? Hold on. Does Greg think that we believe his supporters are going to riot at his events? Huh? Seriously, what? How is this on anybody else? Nobody is thinking these motherfuckers are gonna rise up and attack him. Jesus.
It was a historic event, and it's...
No, it wasn't.
A symbolic refusal to lay down in the face.
You see that? They can't just give the wide shot. They gotta fucking zoom in.
Of fear and the idea that, you know, you shouldn't go back there.
Cut. There you go.
And it's kind of like what the media is saying about the election is...
Boy, crowd looks really big if you squint, unless you pay attention to the fact that it's like Trump's hairline. It just gets lighter the further forward you go.
In general, you better not go back there. You better not reelect Trump. You better not, because there's going to be hell to pay. If Trump wins, there will be chaos and destruction. And if that's true, it's going to come from them, because they're portraying this election more like an extortion, trying to plant the seed that if you win, there will be the return of BLM, Antifa, Hamas protesters on top of that, a complete violent meltdown.
What are you talking about? You're almost quoting exactly what Elon Musk said. He said if Trump doesn't win, there's not going to be another election, right? Trump said, if I win there, we don't even need one. We'll never even need one again. So I guess it's a wash. Is that what you're saying? He's like, if she gets elected, you're going to see a crash like 1929 on steroids and all that kind of stuff. What are you talking about?
But they disguise this as a response to you, as if the population is worried about Trump supporters.
Jesse.
Well, real quick, Trump is. Trump is worried about Trump supporters. That's why he's in a fucking fish tank, Greg. The last person that tried to shoot him there was a Republican, was a registered Republican.
I know that Laura Ingraham has an interview tonight, but as I recall, you saw him like right after in Pennsylvania, and I know Johnny was there. What did you pick up from that visit?
Yeah, what was you bond with people, Evil Ross from Friends, Stretch Ben Shapiro. Tell us tell us how strong he was, and what does Lee Greenwood really smell like?
Well, he looked humbled and more devout than I'd ever seen him, and so that clicked with me.
Devout. First of all, how can you be more devout? How dare you? You're talking about a guy who stood in front of a burned out church he never set foot in, holding a Bible upside down, and was it his Bible? It was a Bible. But you don't get more devout than that, okay? You don't believe me? Check 2 Corinthians, buddy. You can't, look, Trump knows more about the Bible than the Holy Spirit does, believe me.
Johnny was there over the weekend, and he'll have that tonight. The storyline of this election is Trump surviving to fight for you. And whether
it's so moving. It is. Surviving. So you're just running on a whole, like, fuck Corey comparator idea. That's what you're saying. Like, God protected him, but those other people were just collateral damage in God's great plan to protect America. You had to have some blood spilled so that people would know this was serious. But don't worry, they get to be a prop forever.
It's the mugshots, the show trials, the character assassination, or the real assassins.
Real quick, first of all, the quote real assassins, both of them came from his side, and especially the last one fucking voted for him and asked Iran for help like Trump asked Russia for help going after Hillary. It's super fucking weird. He's a lunatic. But there was no point where, like, well, hold on. Let me clarify this part again.
And whether it's the mugshots, the show trials, the character assassination.
Yeah, the mugshots, there's one. And every time somebody buys something from Trump with the mugshot on it, that money goes to the Fulton County DA's office, to the whatever, the Georgia DOJ that oversees it, and pays for the prosecution of Trump ultimately, because that money goes into the budget. So Trump is funding both sides of his Georgia trial because part of the deal. And then this character assassination, right? The man has no character. He is a character, but he doesn't have character.
Or the real assassins, his reaction to these things, that fighting instinct where you pick yourself up off the mat and you keep going forward, that has gained a level of respect for the America First movement that was not possible before. And
okay, so this basically they were seeing him as a flagging candidate, and they organized this whole thing as a conspiracy to make him look tough, and they told him beforehand, don't worry, you're not actually going to get harmed. It might be a little scary, but you'll do just fine, and we'll set this up. I mean, if you want to go complete fucking mask off conspiracy theory, basically you're saying this was designed and orchestrated to help Trump appear tough. Great.
And his return to Butler is symbolic of how
somehow he gets to be in a fish tank, but fuck Lee Greenwood? You don't think that the bad guys want to get rid of national treasure Lee Greenwood? And I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died while I had problems with my feet. And I'll gladly stand up next to you and do this jerking dance today.
Harris and Biden have run the country. They have failed to protect their opponent. They've failed to protect the border, our street.
I'm sorry, he's dead now? I didn't realize Trump, is this a rerun? Or something happened?
Our allies, the dollar, and...
The dollar! Okay, Glenn Beck.
And him coming back and surviving and fighting hopefully foreshadows America coming back and continued to fight. Now, Elon...
Hopefully? Fuck you, buddy. Sorry, you think America's only good depending on who's in the Oval Office?
Elon Musk didn't endorse officially Donald Trump until right after Donald Trump popped up and said, fight, fight, fight. He tweeted it out. And for a lot of other people, at that moment, when he stood up and said that, it clicked for them too. Because many Americans asked the...
What, that this might be a coordinated conspiracy? I mean, that part of it? And he's like, oh, this guy might be smart enough to pull off a giant misinformation campaign like my purchase of Twitter.
Question, what?
Also, again, if Someone in the booth hates you, Jesse Waters. Look at the picture they chose of Elon Musk. He looks like Gollum at the end of a first date. It gives us a kiss or it gets its head crushed in, my precious.
Why are they trying to silence this man?
They are not. There is no they. Fuck you. There's no they. If they were trying to silence him, he'd have been silenced. If there's a they, like you talk about, they would do it. The fact that he's alive proves there's no they. Same as Alex Jones. There's no they, motherfucker.
His entire candidacy is an indictment upon the system. The system.
Yeah, the whole system. Democracy, the Constitution, the American rule of law, you know, freedom. Yes, it's an indictment of those things. Donald Trump is an affront to all things. And I am guilty of preferring those things to Donald Trump, the dumb dictator.
The system's corrupt. It's secretive. It's incompetent. It's authoritarian. And
but enough about the upper executives at Fox News.
Elon Musk is a forward thinker, and he can.
He's a forward thinker. That's yeah. Mm-hmm. Yes, he's a forward thinker. He can buy things that are obviously going to be used in the future and go, you know what? I think Jesse Waters is going to buy my bullshit.
See that this election is not just about Donald Trump. It's about the future of the country. Can this country guarantee free speech, the right to bear arms, freedom of association, free enterprise? Can it guarantee our own sovereignty?
Yes, it is.
And he's put a lot of his reputation on the line for this election because Trump loses. Kamala Harris is going to come after him and come after him hard. So.
Right, because he's a criminal, and I don't think she'll have to do it. The DOJ will handle it because his crimes are self-evident. But I don't know, your point wasn't that Kamala Harris was going to come after him afterwards, is that you set those things up that they will go away. Freedom of speech, right to bear arms, all the same shit you talked about when Obama was elected or fucking when Hillary was going to be elected or when Biden got elected, and none of it has fucking happened because you're full of shit. Like, how many times are you going to sell this lemon?
For many reasons, this is an important election, and there's a lot at stake.
Judge, the crowd.
Jesus Christ. It's fun watching him run out of steam, though.
It was massive, and they would have crawled over broken glass to be there. So what?
Well, first of all, that's nuts. Secondly, no, they wouldn't have. And by the way, thank God we have the government has regulations against broken glass being all over a field where people are gathering. You got to clean that shit up, or unless that's one of the regulations he repealed.
Does that give you a sense of how things might go in Pennsylvania?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I broke this segment down into 4 parts. The first,
great,
it's a personal part. The fact that Donald Trump made it a point to bring Corey Comparatori back, and the
what, like Lazarus? Bring him back? He's fucking dead, lady.
2 other victims who were shot. And he recognized the individuals. He stopped the speech at 6:11, which was the time he got shot. And,
Yeah, it was a big show, fuckwad. He didn't bring back... Jesus Christ. Like, the victims aren't there. The 2 people that got shot, he brought them up. He didn't bring them back. Fuck is the matter with you? Those people are mortally wounded. They are going to be damaged the rest of their fucking life. They are maimed, you dumbass.
The bells tolled. And then Chris Mock...
Oh, my God. Really? Really? Did they toll some bells? Because he does not understand that ask not for whom the bell tolls, it tolls for thee. Ba-dum, ba-dum, ba.
comes out and sings Ave Maria. This audience, Dana, was so mobilized on their own. They started singing God Bless America. I mean, I had...
They do this at a lot of his events before this happened.
Chills. I was almost in tears.
Right, because you were at a tent revival for the Temu Antichrist, and you're a gullible, dough-headed fuck.
Just watching the patriotism, how strong it was, how...
That's not patriotism. Trump isn't the fucking country. It isn't patriotism any more than fucking people who cry when Kenneth Copeland talks are you know, like this is Christianity.
How I was able to say, thank God not everyone is gone. And
What? What? Thank God not everyone is gone? What do you mean? Thank God that Thomas Crooks didn't have a bump stock, you dumbass? I'm certainly glad he didn't have one, or there'd have been a lot more dead people. Thanks, Clarence Thomas. All seriousness. If this had happened now, if he hadn't done the Butler thing till now and it had been put off, and Thomas Crooks had done exactly what he did then, but he did it now, he'd have been able to buy a bump stock. You think he would have only gotten off 8 shots at Trump then? You think Trump would still be alive? In that case? Killed by one of his own fucking bump stocks? I mean, you want to talk about God changing the timeline of stuff. Trump is lucky it happened so close to Thomas's ruling about bump stocks.
And then, of course, there was the psychological aspect, the bravery aspect, where you...
Yes, nothing says bravery like going back to the scene of where you were almost shot at, you staying in a sealed container while everybody else is outside of it in case somebody else tries to shoot you.
Had people who witnessed a shooting from the first Butler rally who came back. You had a president who was shot and came back. You had the family members who came back. Look, people suffer from PTSD just seeing a homicide, just seeing someone shot. These people experienced it firsthand. They came back. And
right. And many of them are being treated for PTSD currently, like the family members and stuff. I hope they're getting grief counseling and PTSD counseling. You know who isn't? Trump. You know who has untreated PTSD right now, which is exactly why I think he's taken up drinking in the last couple of weeks? Trump. That's my argument. That's why he's started having little nips on the plane from the bar that's on his plane, either with people's permission and awareness or not, because he has untreated PTSD and he talks like somebody who is taking painkillers because he's fucking old and drinking at the same time.
And then there's the political piece.
Yes, finally, the political piece. Wait, is he saluting Lee Greenwood? Fuck me. Fox, why are you doing this to him? Why are you trying to make him look like an asshole? And you can't, like, the contrast between what she's saying and what we're seeing is fucking hilarious.
Pennsylvania's a toss-up state. Every time it's 1 point, 1 point, 1 point. But to me, the telling thing was the Democrats had 916,000 more registered voters in 2016 in Pennsylvania. In 2020, it was down to 685.
Wait, hold on. How many?
Democrats had 916,000 more registered voters in 2016 in Pennsylvania. In 2020, it was down to 685. In 2024, it's down to 333,000 Democrats having an advantage.
Sorry, Democrats have a 300,000 registered voter advantage in Pennsylvania, and you think that's a good sign? They had first of all, a million, nearly a million advantage in whatever 2016, I guess, and then slightly fewer in 2020 is the idea. The idea that it's ticking downward. Great. Tell you what, he might at that rate, he might have a chance of winning in 2042.
I really think that the way that it was orchestrated, the way that it happened, that it was just generic. It just happened. Mm-hmm.
It's just generic. That's the way I look at it. It was, if you're like, wow, it's just generic. Yeah, well said. What? What was generic?
It's going to make a big difference in the election.
generic and it's going to make a big difference. So it was a generic assassination attempt or a generic return to the site of an assassination attempt?
Harold, I'll give you the final word.
So,
Harold, real quick. The final word is what?
When I look at the race right now, and I could not have been more pleased for the president. He was able to go back there and give the rally, have the rally. Some of the substance I didn't like, but for the image of what it meant, it was a powerful thing, and every American has to acknowledge that. The singing, the songs, Judge, I agree with you. It was certainly inspiring. But at this point in the campaign, 29 days out, I don't care who's at the top of the ticket on either side, you're looking at the polling data, and you're looking at which voters you have to persuade to come to your side. As we get to the end of the race, and I said in the first block, I think both of them have decided that they're just going to try to appeal only to their base.
This is what happens when Jessica's not available. It's just a bullshit panel. No, Harold, that's not at all what's happening. Where the fuck do you get the idea Harris is chasing the base? Are you out of your fucking mind? Yeah, she just did a rally with Liz Cheney. For fuck's sake. What are you talking about? By the way, never in your mind while you're talking fast mix up Jessica and Liz Cheney because it will come out weird. Liz, yes, with Liz Cheney, like on The View, she just said she would have a Republican in her cabinet, the same way Biden said it.
In Pennsylvania, you look at two of them are basically tied. John Fetterman was on one of the shows earlier saying this thing is super, super tight. It's going to come right down to the very end. So if I were advising either campaign and any candidate, the one thing I'd be telling him or her is, what are you doing to try to win over those 30 to 40 to 50,000 voters in whatever state we might be in? I understand we want to keep the base fired up. We want to keep the base energized. But what are you doing to do that? I don't know. I listened to a lot of what the president talked about the other night, and I'm not convinced that he was speaking to that group, and perhaps he'll get to speaking to that group. Two.
No.
If I was blessed, if I'm blessed to ever run for office again, and Elon Musk decides to support me, and he speaks at my rally, one of the things I'm going to have him ask him to also say is, can you just kind of lay out what you to give the people something?
All right. You know what, Harold? I think they're making fun of you now, man. Because if anything is an example of Trump reaching out to those undecided voters, it's this image. Back in Butler, Trump finished his rally 3 months after being shot. Oh. Why would you do that? Why? Why would you pick the fucking meme shot, Fox? Why would you do it? Real quick, do the people who I was about to say, do the people who are talking get to pick what photos will play while they're talking? Hey, would you like some, you want to have any say in what we put up next to you? As an example of what you're saying? Because if it's true, then Harold Ford is a fucking boss, and he's just playing it cool while they, and while they play shots. He's like, yeah, no, they're cool guys. He's a cool guy, and it's all cool. But I don't believe that's the case, because I saw the picture that they played when Jesse Waters was talking of Elon, and he looks like fucking Gollum. So
they can be inspired by my economic agenda.
That's what this is. Yep. Be inspired by, nothing says be inspired by my economic agenda better than Captain Doge to the moon trying to jump there to get ahead of the game.
That I'm going to be about growth and innovation. Just say something. I thought they might have missed a little bit of an opportunity.
Just say something?
To do a little of that. But again, that's just me. And as I've said many times before, I'm kind of old-fashioned about politics, I think. And you got to do those things. Finally, I disagree with you in this regard. Politicians, you see musicians and actors and business people come out and endorse people in politics all the time. And right away, whomever wins gets right back together with them. Elon Musk is the most important innovator and is the most important technologist of our era, maybe the last.
Bullshit, Harold. No, he's not. That's like saying Ronald McDonald is the greatest hamburger cook in American history. No, he isn't. Harold, do you even know who Sam Altman is? Tim Cook, a.k.a. Tim Apple. Like, have you heard of NVIDIA? Do you know what Jeff Bezos is doing in terms of his alternative to Starlink, which is superior and isn't near-Earth orbit satellites that fall out of the fucking sky every week? Bullshit.
It's 2 eras. Whomever is elected president is going to have to work with him. I wish.
No, they're not. No, they are not. Whoever gets elected is not going to have to work with fucking Elon Musk at all.
She was supporting my candidate, but I have no problem him supporting whomever he wants. And if Kamala Harris is blessed to win, I hope she reaches out to him, and I hope she does not punish him, if nothing else.
Punish him for what? Oh, you mean funneling Saudi and Russian money into technology and giving it away, and effectively stealing technologically from NASA and using American taxpayer-funded sites that were built on taxpayer funds like NASA's so that he can help the Russians and the Saudis get ahead and undermine our government with a giant misinformation campaign on Twitter? You mean like that? Because I'm sure he's not involved in any, like, hinky fucking financial stuff. Get the fuck out of here.
Harold the diplomat. Excellent comments, of course. And if you want to see more about President Trump, Laura...
Yeah, I kind of don't, but I have a feeling we will. By the way, you're watching HAL Sparks Mega Worldwide. Like, subscribe, give a thumbs up, support the show. Speaking of giving a thumbs up, if I may, ladies and gentlemen, this is Sean Hannity, Human Thumb, and this is... there's always, you know how we always say there's everything's projection with these assholes? Okay. Sometimes, apropos of nothing, they have this projection that they're doing that where they bring up a topic or a conversation out of nowhere and you're like, what made you say that? It seems to apply to nothing, but all of a sudden then news follows later that they're actually having this problem, whatever it is. Okay. Sean Hannity, Kamala Harris's internal poll numbers have to be horrendous. Oh yeah? Why would that be?
Welcome to Hannity and a busy news night. Tonight, the Gulf Coast of Florida bracing for yet another...
Sorry, the Gulf Coast? The Gulf Coast.
And welcome to Hannity and a busy news night. Tonight, the Gulf Coast of Florida bracing...
The Gulf. Gulf? Okay, cool. Gulf. Great. Thank God he's just a temp and doesn't talk for a living on television.
For yet another massive hurricane, now a Cat 5 barreling again towards the Tampa area and the west coast of Florida. Governor Ron DeSantis, he will join us more.
Rhonda who?
On the important hurricane prep that is now underway. Unlike Kamala and Joe, they actually stage 30,000 utility vehicles and water and food and medicine and supplies, something that Kamala and Joe can learn from. And
by the way, that's what the states all do, and then they're backfilled by FEMA funding and FEMA support.
Tonight, Governor DeSantis
and do they and and unlike Republicans, Democrats actually fund FEMA and fund the state response instead of cutting.
Will respond to Kamala Harris politicizing this hurricane. Also,
no, politicizing Rhonda's response.
Very own Sarah Carter. She is in the toughest areas hit in North Carolina with Hurricane Helene.
The toughest areas or the toughest areas that are accessible?
Struggling to recover in North Carolina 11 days after. We're going to check in with those victims. They do have a message for Kamala and Joe. That's straight ahead tonight.
Yeah, sure. And that's leave us alone. We can handle it.
And also tonight, 97 hostages, including 4 Americans, remain somewhere in Gaza. 1 year after the October 7th terror attack on Israel. It's now a forefront war against Israel. 1,200 people brutally murdered by Hamas, others raped and kidnapped and tortured and beheaded. And by the way, including...
Yeah, and not a political issue. Move on. Okay, let's go. This is the Israeli Netanyahu U.S. ally. Okay, well, let's hear what he says here. Let's go to this.
Bring herself to even back the Israeli prime minister.
Oh, I see. No, you can back Israel, but you don't have to back him. Fuck Netanyahu, but you can back the Israelis.
The only democracy in the region, our biggest ally in the region.
Right, whose leader, whatever, managed to maintain some level of power even though he was about to be indicted on corruption charges. And he was literally trying to change the judiciary so he wouldn't get punted from power.
His war against radical Islamic terrorists that are still holding Americans hostage. Why
are you pointing at yourself? Oh, I'm sorry, you're more American than I am and she is. Gotcha, okay.
Watch this.
Do we have a real close ally in Prime Minister Netanyahu?
I think, with all due respect, the better question is, do we have an important alliance between the American people and the Israeli people? And the answer to that question is yes.
Yeah, unfortunately, we'll have much more of Kamala's disastrous CBS interview straight ahead.
Yeah, it wasn't disastrous. It's actually pretty rock solid. I mean, I think that's a very appealing message to a broader audience than almost any I've heard.
And get this, after weeks and weeks and 70-plus days of hiding from even her closest friends in the state-run media mob.
Wait a minute. Is this motherfucker saying that the reason his evidence that her internal poll numbers are allegedly have to be horrendous is that she's now doing interviews because she's moved past the aviate and navigate to communicate?
Kamala Harris now all of a sudden is going to participate in a number of interviews this week. They're all
exactly in the timing that you wanted. Good shot, by the way. That's a thumbnail worth happening. Yeah. That's good stuff. Sorry. If I may. Ladies and gentlemen, if his argument is that she's finally doing interviews, which everybody's been honored to do because her poll numbers are terrible, as opposed to she got to him when she said she would. She said, this is when we're going to do this. They had to rearrange the campaign because she took over at the top of the ticket. She had to pick a VP. They had to coordinate. They had to work up their policy position so they're presentable from a point of view of somebody who's a POTUS, not a VP, and start pushing that and working on the messaging and all the kind of stuff and all the stuff you were doing over the course of years in a campaign if you actually gave a shit about winning in a matter of weeks. And she said, by the end of the month, we're going to start doing these things, and voila, here it is.
All really hard hitting. Now, every one of these, well, there'll be infomercials, friendly interviews. Let's see, CBS.
60 Minutes was not a friendly interview. Literally, the dude could not stop interrupting her. I was amazed. Who watched Chat Room? Who watched the full CBS interview, by the way? I haven't covered it, but it's been on other places because it's kind of self-evident. But dude was not the guy who was interviewing her, I forget his name, but would not stop interrupting. It was like mid-sentence, he was stopping her. It was super odd. Okay, you haven't seen it yet? Maybe we'll cover it. That's not a bad idea then, if a lot of people haven't. Yeah.
Oh, the ladies of The View.
Oh, sorry.
The sadly, newly, extremely woke Howard Stern. The guy that now...
Sorry, and Laura Ingraham was really giving it to Trump, is what you're saying?
Thinks that every Trump supporter is stupid. The only thing that would make you stupid is if you were a Howard Stern fan and you still listen to him at this point.
Yeah, we're not stupid. You're stupid. You're a big dummy. Nah, I'm not stupid. You tell him, Sean. He called us stupid. We're not stupid. They're the ones stupid.
If he thinks you're stupid.
It's a very convincing argument. Touche, sir, touche.
Why would you listen to him? And a podcast named Call Her Daddy. That's a big one. And
it actually is. It's the second most listened to podcast in existence, I guess.
And Stephen Colbert, who loves to kiss her ass. Now take a look at your screen. These outlets are never going to ask, any of these people never ask the questions about her radical, extreme, and frankly dangerous.
Okay, does she still think inflation is transitory? It is. It's come down, stupid. Did you compile this list in 2021?
Dangerous record, and her.
Why is it so slow? If there's a bunch, all right,
failures.
Maybe. Oh, you know what? I'm sorry. In deference to your regular viewers, Sean, I know why it's so slow. Sorry, my bad. I should have thought about that.
In office, there will be no real vetting of Kamala, no real questions in any of these periods.
Does she still want to offer free housing to illegal immigrants at taxpayer expense? Well, not permanent housing. Nobody gets permanent housing for free. You're talking about temporary housing till they either are expelled because they have to be processed, so that if they try to come back in again, we have a legal reason to keep them out. But do you want them living on the street? What do you like? What's the alternative? Just kick them out. What if they have an asylum claim? Also, well, the other thing too is J.D. Vance considers people who got temporary protected status to be illegal anyways. And again, the free housing, again, what do you want to do? Have them stay outside until we eject them? What if, how long? Weeks? A day? However long it takes to process them and then deport them? How long is that? What are you talking about?
Appearances, none whatsoever. I hate Donald Trump. I hate Donald Trump more. Do you hate Donald Trump? Yeah, I hate Donald Trump. Do you hate Donald Trump? That's what the interviews will be.
No. I mean, I think they'll be more specific than hating him. I think I hate that Donald Trump's a rapist, right? They'll throw that in just for spice. I mean, it's true, so.
Make no mistake.
Does she still want to offer free health care to illegal immigrants at taxpayer expense? So, there's some migrants encountered by CBP. They're taken to a processing facility before they're sent back. There's a child with them. That child has an infection on a cut on their arm that's septic. And Sean Hannity does not want that child to be treated. He wants them to die of some sort of septic infection because Jesus?
There is one huge reason, and only one reason, that Kamala is now going on and doing any interviews.
Because she said she would. She did say she was weeks ago.
Her internal poll numbers have got to be horrendous.
Oh, they got to be. Well, okay. Well, at least this is. So you've got somebody on the inside. Okay, they got to be. Why would anybody go on The View unless they're? Hold on. Why would anybody go on The View? Unless their poll numbers were. Where is this? Hold on here. Why would anybody go on The View unless their poll numbers were horrendous? This is an older version of them. I can find the most recent, like the nearest one. I think it was like 2015 or something like that. Yeah, why would anybody go on there unless they're, well, at this point, like if why would anybody go on The View if their ratings didn't suck? I think is the equivalent of this would be the other version of that. Yeah, Sean? All right, back to here.
Now, meanwhile, the publicly available poll numbers from the most credible pollsters in 2016 and 2020,
Rasmussen,
in swing states, we've been showing you they're not great for Kamala Harris.
They're not great. How are they? They're not. They're not great. It's an interesting choice of words.
She is down
Sean.
in multiple polls in Arizona, Nevada, Wisconsin, Michigan.
Georgia 2024 Trump-Harris polls. Most surveys show Trump ahead in crucial swing state in Georgia. Okay.
Pennsylvania, North Carolina, and Georgia. The race is even tight in Virginia, where Kamala holds a slight lead.
But it's not, which is not good for her. She should have a much smaller lead.
Brand new Yahoo News poll shows Trump surging nationwide, They have a general election right now. That's the overall election, not any particular state, tied at 47-47.
Which is, and Trump was already president, and people are just getting introduced to Kamala now, and it's neck and neck, and somehow this is bad for her.
Market. In other words, the betting markets, they track betting odds. They had Trump down for weeks and weeks. Now Trump is at an all-time high in Pennsylvania and close to an all-time high nationwide. His lead is up to 8.6%. Rasmussen found
also, that's an odds rate, not a polling rate.
Only 34% of our country believe the country is headed in the right direction under.
Well, sorry, according to it, yeah, that's because, first of all, 34% are hardline Democrats, I think largely who are supportive of the way Biden and Harris are handling things. And the others are worried that maybe Trump might get elected. Half of the other 60% or so clearly think we're not going in the right direction because the race is close. It doesn't mean they support him.
Harris Biden, it is even lower in a recent NBC poll at 28%. And now it appears that with just 29 days until election.
Again, why do you think NBC people, like people who take an NBC poll, would think the country isn't heading in the right direction? It might be that Trump is tied with the Democrat in a race like this, considering who he is. That might give you the idea that the country's not in good shape. It just didn't occur to them that way. It isn't because of the, and again, when you go in the right direction, you mean the economy, because it's clearly going in a better direction than it was, right? It's going in the right direction, yeah? Is it politics? That might be the edgy part. Well, then obviously it's because they're worried that Trump is neck and neck.
Day, early voting now in many states going on as a public service. That is available on Hannity.com.
Yeah, it's a public service.
How to register, when early voting starts and stops.
Yeah, I'm sure you compile all that stuff yourself, and it's not you just ripping off vote.org or whatever.
Harris is desperately trying to make up ground. That's why she's finally doing friendly interviews. But, you know,
look, get off his back, people. Sean's new to this, okay? Broadcasting is hard's, difficult, and to doings it.
Lapping it up with, you know, Trump.
Really? He was trying to get to the word lapping? Jesus Christ. Is he on the same drugs Trump is?
Interviews. But, you know, lapping it up with, you know, Trump.
Labbeting it up? Labbeting it up. All right, sorry. Laughing it up? Is that where you... Holy fuck. Was he trying to say laughing it up? It's like... Jesus Christ. What?
Interviews. But, you know, lapping it up with, you know, Trump hater Howard Stern.
No. I don't know, Sean. I don't know, okay? I don't know what lapping it up is. I don't know what that is. Don't say you know. I don't know. No one knows. What the fuck are you talking? Lapping it. Jesus. Yeah, it's like Tom Brokaw doing an ad for the ASPCA. I got a lapdog that's lapping up this lovely little drink that they give them from the laboratory.
Those hard-hitting, you know, interviewers on The View and Stephen Colbert, who's dull as dirt, or the...
Dull as dirt. You got him. I mean, that's... You cut him to the quick, Sean. Dull as dirt. I don't know where you come up with these key phrases, you know, and it's amazing. It really is. I wish I knew your secret. Do you do is it the very little reading part? Maybe that's it. Maybe I'm just reading too much. My internal censor goes, no, that's just stupid, Hal. Don't say that. And it must be so freeing, Sean, to not have that governor on your creative engine, you know, where you're just like, no, nothing I say is stupid. I'm just going to go ahead.
The Call Me Daddy podcast, while millions of Americans are suffering the devastating effects of Hurricane Helene and another...
What? I'm sorry. What's she supposed to be doing? You do realize, as the VP and the POTUS working together, they've already coordinated the response. What do you think? Trump was down there with a fucking show? You don't actually believe that Trump 9/11 bullshit, do you, Sean? That he actually did anything?
Major hurricane on the way is, well, not exactly the best look for the vice president when she and Joe Biden have been completely missing in action. In fact,
they were down there before Trump was. They provided everything the states need. What's the action? What action are they missing from?
It's downright heartless. Take a look.
Made you want to do Caller Daddy today?
Well, I think you and your listeners have really...
Oh, for fuck's sakes. Look at this. Political ad, TikTok at MAGA. You fucking lazy piece of shit, Sean. You can even put this together yourself?
Got this.
You shouldn't have been there. None of us should have been there.
Communicate with people.
Right. You shouldn't have listened to Laura fucking Loomer and all these other maggots that hang out with Trump that told you don't leave.
People is to be real. You know?
And she was giggling a lot during the podcast.
Was she giggling? She was? Because chicks giggle? Is that what it is? She was giggling? Yeah.
We don't know the truth about the death toll in North Carolina, Georgia, South Carolina, Tennessee, Florida. We don't know yet.
Right. And, but you know what we do know is that after Katrina, in the government response, FEMA put together these plastic containers because they had initially body bags for gathering bodies for a long time. And because of the volume of death in Katrina, a lot of corpses got crushed under the weight of other corpses when they were dealing with this. So Democrats put forward a bill to create basically plastic coffin-like containers that could be stacked to protect the remains of people who are killed in devastation like this, so that their family can get as close to a complete body to bury afterwards as they possibly get. And Alex Jones and this motherfucker said those are FEMA coffins, and they're planning on killing us all. So, yeah.
You know, all these Americans have been abandoned. She's doing Howard Stern, Colbert, The View, and Call Me Daddy. You know, supplies haven't been delivered. And
supplies have been delivered.
Now being delivered by neighbors and Samaritan's Purse.
Along with the stuff that's coming from the government and in coordination with FEMA.
In some cases by horse and by mule.
As opposed to...
Joe is out there just flat out lying. Joe Biden said on Friday, everything that people need, they got everything that they need and everybody is happy.
Nobody said everybody is happy.
Not true. Take a look.
I'm sorry. We'll see.
What do the states in the storm zone need, Mr. President? Okay. What do the states in the storm zone, what do they need after what you saw today?
Oh, in the storm zone?
Yes, sir.
I'm wondering what storm you're talking about. They're getting everything they need. And they're very happy across the board.
Oh, he means the governors.
They're getting everything they need. They're very happy. Federal rescue operations have been...
That's what the governors have said. They've gotten everything they need.
Slow. They have been disjointed, nearly non-existent. According to Biden's DHS secretary, FEMA, he's saying, is out of money after the...
No, they're not out of money. They need more money for the SBA.
Emergency Management Agency spent $1 billion of your dollars to feed and house Biden unvetted illegal immigrants. Borders off.
Weren't they being vetted during that process? That's why you're feeding and housing them, is during that process.
Kamala Harris all on board for that.
Also a lie. Also, they added more funding to it. It's always supplemental. FEMA doesn't have a budget that's like everything else because it's in direct response. Unlike, let's say, the DOD.
Meanwhile, the top two, stated priorities of FEMA are diversity, equity, and inclusion, and
bullshit.
And climate change. Okay, I think their priorities are screwed up.
Well, a lot of this damage is caused by climate change, fuckwad. Specifically.
You would think that the emergency management...
Also, and it is not. Helping people is their priority. Saving lives and providing assistance is their top priority. While they're doing that, that they make sure that when they hire people to work fucking phone banks, they're looking to the broadest group of people to draw from, seems logical and decent in and of itself, if that's what you're talking about. But what Sean wants you to think is there's a slow push on a slow response, not just because Harrison and Biden are awful and don't give a fuck or disjointed or, elites, whatever their current talking point is. But because they hired a bunch of black people to coordinate some of the effort, and black people aren't capable of doing it. That they're worried about hiring women to take care of some of these things. Or Hispanics, or having a disabled person work a fucking phone bank. He wants you to think that's why. That's why the response is slow. Not because the Tennessee Emergency Management Agency ran interference on federal aid that was coming in so that they could get Trump over there. They were trying to get him down there to do a PR event like he did in Georgia. Not because of that, but because there are brown people now in these jobs. That's what he's talking about. That's what Sean is saying. Sean is saying when they bring up DEI, when something hasn't worked, it's because there are too many chicks and black people in the fucking, in the chain of command. That's what he's saying. There is no other message here. You bring up DEI in these situations, what you're saying is they're incompetent people, and they are incompetent because they are women or they are of color, or both.
Management would be the top of the list and helping every American in need. You think
it is. Go say that shit at FEMA headquarters, you fucking asshole.
They would have the money available, especially in light of how much money they give all these other countries, but not under...
They do have the money available, but Congress has to allocate it because that's who controls the purse strings. Now, I don't remember, Sean, who's currently in charge of the House of Representatives?
Kamala's so-called leadership. And today, Kamala was most focused on trashing Donald Trump and...
Hey, asshole, before she went on The View and called me daddy, where was she? What's this? What's this footage from? What's happening here? Sorry, it was Trump went golfing during the hurricane response. It's one of the reasons why he went to Puerto Rico and threw paper towels at people was because he caught shit for it. So what part of micromanaging everything did Trump do at all, much less what you're suggesting should happen here?
Ron DeSantis for daring to criticize the administration's response. Take a look at this.
The other point I'd make is that there's a lot of mis and disinformation being pushed out there by the former president about what is available, in particular to the survivors of Helene. And first of all, it's extraordinarily irresponsible. It's about him. It's not about you. And the reality is that FEMA has so many resources that are available to folks who desperately need them.
Yes. Yeah, that is true. And by the way, did she say something else about DeSantis in this, politicizing it or making it political? Because it seems to me she's only talking about Trump in this situation.
Kamala, you've been MIA. Joe's been...
She's been MIA? She's been MIA? Don't come in me, don't come in me, don't come in me, you, who.
MIA. You're lying and saying everybody's fine, everybody's been taken care of, and everybody's...
No, they're in the process of taking care of people. It is an ongoing effort. That's what ongoing effort means.
Happy. Mayorkas says you're bankrupt. FEMA's website...
No, he doesn't.
...said you gave $1 billion to your illegal immigrants. You're not...
Is that what they said? FEMA said that's what the FEMA website says? Cool. You know what? Instead of showing this weird thing of these people walking across this busted bridge, explain to us all, if you could, where that is. Why don't you show that page?
Not doing your job by going on the, Call Me Daddy website. Only
the Call Me Daddy website. Nobody even knows what a phone app is, Sean.
About $4 million. That's it. Was dispensed from FEMA, and it took them a week to show up. Thousands upon thousands of Americans have lost absolutely everything. They're using horses and mules, but not helicopters and government planes and our military.
So fuck you, National Guard, according to Sean Hannity. The state National Guards haven't been doing shit. Nobody's in there. Again, they don't need, none of the National Guards in any of these states need permission from the federal government to do any of this stuff. But according to Sean Hannity, they're not doing any of it.
Entire towns washed away, roads, highways, bridges.
Yeah, it's a storm, motherfucker. It's terrible. We get it. Yeah.
They are closed indefinitely. Power, clean drinking water, still in short supply.
Yes, in short supply. That means it's there, and they're increasing the supply over time. It just happened.
The level of suffering has been immense, and you have done nothing. And
they've done everything.
And here is what Kamala was posting on X 2 days ago. Look at this.
2 days ago,
Quote,
okay.
The people of Lebanon are facing an increasingly dire humanitarian...
That's all she posted on October 5th, Sean? Is something about Lebanon? That's all? All October 5th? Shit, she must have been at FEMA all day then, that she only tweeted about that stuff.
Situation. I am concerned about the security and well-being of...
The well-being, just say well-being. That works.
Civilians suffering in Lebanon, and will continue working to help meet the needs of all civilians in Lebanon. But to that end, the U.S. will provide nearly $157 million in additional assistance to the people of Lebanon for...
Right. Allocated foreign aid. Right. That money doesn't go anywhere else.
Essential needs, food, shelter, water, protection, sanitation, to help those who have been displaced by the recent conflict. This additional support brings total U.S. assistance to Lebanon over last year to over $385 million. Give it to North Carolina and Georgia.
She can't. That's foreign aid. There's a reason why the budget is allocated the way it is. It's discretionary. There's a discretionary amount of money that can go to certain emergency fund stuff that goes to different places when it happens, and so they can direct some of it, but they can't take that money and direct it to the United States because that's what it's for. There's specific money that's allocated inside the United States and specific to that purpose. But again, is there some sort of, I don't know, like is it maybe in the future if there was some sort of like matrix device where we could upload a civics class into Sean Hannity's tiny fucking dome?
Hundreds of millions of Americans suffering. You're telling us about
hundreds of millions?
Lebanon?
Hundreds of millions.
What about the suffering Americans in our country?
What about them? Oh, we're already helping those folks.
Those states impacted by Hurricane Helene. What about the people there? Our very own Peter Ducey had an opportunity to ask Corinne Jean-Pierre about this earlier today. She didn't like the question. Peter's 1,000% right. Take a look.
Take a look.
On this issue of funding, the administration has money to send to Lebanon without Congress coming back. But Congress does have to come back to approve money to send to people in North Carolina. Do I have that right?
Here's what I'm going to be very clear about. The president and the vice president has had a robust whole of government response to this.
President Biden is fond of saying, show me your budget and I will tell you what you value. If he's got money for people in Lebanon right now without Congress having to come back, what does it say about his values? There's not enough money right now.
I would say that he has spent more of the money that the House allocates for disaster relief than the Republicans are willing to give him. That there is money left over to strategically use in terms of foreign support, but when it comes to disaster relief in the United States, we're having to pay out more than we ever have, and we are. Otherwise, he'd have, if he could have done, he could have skimped on all the other storms and the other FEMA outreach situations earlier this year with tornadoes and other shit that happened, but or cut the the number of people they help in half, but they don't want to do that.
For people in North Carolina who need it. That's not misinformation.
Wait, no, that is your whole premise of the question is misinformation, sir. What you do, yes, it's misinformation.
Yeah, Sean, whatever you do, don't show her explanation of why it was misinformation. Cut her off at that point, because how dare she, sir? How dare she? How dare the black gay lady talk back to the son of Ducey?
Joe said everybody's needs are taken care of and they're happy. That's misinformation. No money for the Southeast, hundreds of millions for Lebanon.
No money for the Southeast. Really, Sean? You're gonna go, that's what you're gonna go with? Okay.
Last week, Biden pledged another $3 billion. Actually, it was $8 billion to Ukraine. Each U.S. taxpayer, on top of the, is sending more than, taxpayers more than $12 billion to Ukraine. On top of the nearly 200 total, Ethiopia gets more than $2 billion. The Taliban gets $1.3 billion. Another $1.3 billion for Yemen. More than $1 billion went to Egypt, Georgia.
Okay, so this is just isolationist claptrap that we shouldn't be sending out foreign aid until we no longer have storms. Here's a good idea. Why are you having to argue for a zero sum in a situation like this?
Nigeria, Somalia, South Sudan, and I can keep going.
Yeah, all home of brown people and enemies of Russia.
The U.S. spent a whopping $18 billion on the anti-American, anti-Semitic UN, along with $850.
The anti-Semitic, anti-American UN. Yeah, so again, Sean Hannity has just gone full, like, 1950s isolationist.
$50 million for the corrupt WHO that was the propaganda wing for the communist Chinese during COVID.
I'm sorry. Oh, they were the propaganda wing. I see. So they helped sell the hoax of the plandemic, which apparently Donald Trump fell for hook, line, and sinker. Gotcha.
Millions more for the globalist World Economic Forum. But
what? No.
FEMA's out of money, Mayorkas says, and won't have the funds to make it through hurricane season. And, they're totally, completely missing in action. This is insane.
Yeah, they're not missing in action. They aren't. And by the way, again, all this motherfucker is doing is saying that the National Guard people and the FEMA folks, yeah, 1930s is a better point. You're right. All he's doing is using still photos when they work, or footage when he's got it of storm stuff that people took on their phones as it was happening.
Insane. The Biden-Harris administration doesn't care. They've abandoned the people.
That's right. They're just leaving it like this. Yeah. Thank you. You tell them, Sean. This is the goal. This is what America. Listen to Sean Hannity. This is what the Biden-Harris administration has been shooting for. This is what they want. This is what they want. This is their revenge against poor white trash. They just like it when your fucking house is off of its foundation and it's been washed away. They love your family covered in mud. Get the fuck out of here. This is just shameless and gross.
In the Southeast in this country, and they seem to only care about people abroad, and the response from them has been callous. It has been incompetent. It has been the worst hurricane response in our history.
Oh, okay. And also he's still butt chapped about Katrina.
David Axelrod sees the suffering all over the Southeast, and he views it as a political win for Democrats. You can't make this up. Take a look.
There's a lot of displacement in western North Carolina. Now, Asheville is a blue dot in that area, but there are a lot of Republican voters there.
Key.
But those voters in Asheville are they're the kind of voters who will figure out a way to vote. They're upscale kind of liberal voters, and they're probably going to figure out a way to vote. I'm not sure a bunch of these folks who've had their homes and lives destroyed elsewhere in western North Carolina in the mountains there are going to be as easy to wrangle for the Trump campaign.
Hey, Sean Hannity here.
Right. And fuck does that have to do with anything? It's true. People in mountain areas are harder to get to vote in the first place, much less if they've been in a fucking flood. That's true of anybody who's been in a fucking flood. Jesus Christ. Same conversation about California after a big earthquake when there's an election coming up. Good Lord. But I would like to remind everybody, if I may, that this is Kamala Harris's internal poll numbers have to be horrendous was the name of that segment. The entirety of that segment was based on the premise that everything it was showing was just proof that this would be a that she's in big trouble. Now, let me do this 1 second. How much time do I have? Fuck, I'm already. God damn it! The whole thing just races by. So many. It's so exciting. Now, I'll finish on this. Eric Trump was he on Jesse Waters' show? I think so, because this is where they all go now. Eric Trump was on Jesse Waters' show. Eric Trump on Father's Return to Butler. It was a beautiful moment. Here we go.
Eric Trump's the executive vice president at the Trump Organization. So you were there on Saturday at Butler. What was the emotion like, Eric?
Jesse was incredible. I've never been more proud of my father in my entire life. I was.
And it's not saying a lot. I went right back, Jesse. Right before after that, like since then, I haven't been as proud either, because what he did after was just frankly gross. And I'm the one who has to clean him up.
Next to Corey's wife, his 2 beautiful daughters. You had literally his firefighting uniform up in the corner. It's actually up there at the corner of the screen. It was a beautiful, beautiful moment. People as far as the eye could see. I went out there on stage right before he spoke with Laura. I couldn't see the end of the crowd. There was at least 100,000 people there.
No, there wasn't. There was about 21,000 people there. Period. Not, like, genuinely. I'm not fucking around. I'm not just, this isn't a dig. This is just reality. There's 21,000 people there. The place couldn't even fucking hold 100,000 if it wanted to, and it was nowhere near full. Like, it's just absurd. There's about 21,000 people there. The whole area could probably hold about 30 if they really shoehorned everybody in. He's nuts.
They were going crazy. Unlike the guests that...
I think they were already crazy.
You just played, these are not stupid people. In fact, they're the extremely smart...
Why'd you say in crack? What? Are you saying that Trump supporters smoke crack?
Crazy. Unlike the guests that you just played, these are not stupid people. In fact, they're the extremely smart people.
Yes, they're the extremely smart people. Thank you, Eric. Thank you.
They're amazing people. They're people that love this country, love our nation, and want to see America get put first again. And we're not getting put first. We are falling behind in absolutely everything we do.
Except the economy and our political standing in the world and our security and our productivity and our infrastructure and our manufacturing and our oil production, where we're at an all-time high again.
And it's infuriating to all of them. And that's why it's not a political movement, Jesse. This is a movement
Okay, that's just rude. Sorry. Wait. I apologize. I should have... that's just bad. Ladies and gentlemen, so wrong of me. I didn't know. I couldn't have known that they were going to go to such a blatant nutshot right out of the gate like that. I thought they would have had more or / less respect for Eric to do that, because woof. I apologize. You might want to turn away. Man.
Total love. These people love my father. He's not a...
Yeah, they don't love America. They love your dad. Yeah, I get it. I get it. He's Pat Robertson if Pat Robertson fucked a circus peanut.
Politician, right? He's not a politician to them.
He was. He was president of the United States. He's been campaigning the entire time. He's a politician. As a matter of fact, I would argue that campaigning makes you more of a politician than winning does.
He's literally a savior of this country. The one
He's literally a savior of this country. And, obviously, look, COVID, the BLM riots, but nobody's perfect.
Person who will take every literal and figurative bullet for this nation time.
No, he will not take every literal or figurative bullet. First of all, figuratively, he's a complete wuss and a weakling when people make fun of him. He's an absolute bitch when this stuff happens, and he whines and rides and gets all fucking upset, and he can't stop himself. For every dig that anybody makes, just grinds on him for weeks. So he doesn't just take every figurative bullet. And he doesn't take any actual bullet. As a matter of fact, the only people that actually took a bullet was fucking Corey Comparator and the 2 other people who were wounded.
Time and time again. It's funny, you just watched Hillary Clinton talking about, being the arbiter of truth. I mean, This is a person who literally wrote a dirty dossier about my father, and yet...
She literally didn't. That guy that fucked your sister wrote it. And the Washington Examiner, I think it was it the Free Beacon? Free Beacon. Bought it because they were looking for Trump Oppo research because they were supporting DeSantis or some asshole. And so they wanted to like cut him off ahead of time. And then when they decided they're just on board with him being a complete, they're like, oh wait, sorry, he was friends with Jeffrey Epstein for 2.5 decades? Why didn't you say so? And they decided they didn't want it anymore. So Christopher Steele, who fucked your sister, sold it to the Hillary campaign, took it to them and said, would you like to buy this? And they bought it and they're like, we don't need to use this. This is all PP tape bullshit. We don't need this. We're going to beat him anyways. And they didn't use it. And he took it to the FBI. He was like, wait a minute, these are fucking crimes. Yes, Ivanka slept with Christopher Steele. That's the story. That's the allegation that Christopher Steele and Ivanka Trump had intercourse, bumped uglies, knocked boots, made the creature with two backs. Yes.
You know, she's the arbiter of truth. And
that's the allegation. Whether it's true or not, only the two of them actually know. But that's the general belief.
Every single one of those people in the crowd recognizes that. They recognize the games that the Democrats play. They recognize how they put this country last.
I gotta say, if he represents America first and Democrats put this country last, literally, because I love how Eric has no idea what the word literally means, literally. But if they really, if your dad really is the only person that can put America first and they're literally trying to put America last, why is he still alive? Why would they send somebody who couldn't finish the job if it's that important to them? Or could it possibly be that you're full of shit?
They recognize when Kamala Harris, wants to give residents of North Carolina $750 as their home floats down a river.
Well, yeah, they'll get a lot more later when they're trying to rebuild the house, restart their business, rebuild that place, pay their medical bills. There's a bunch of other stuff. But right now, so you think it's a slam that as soon as their house is floating down a river, before it's even stopped floating, she's throwing $750 in their hand and going, get to a fucking hotel, clean yourself up, get yourself some clothes, some tampons if you need it, buy your fucking medicine, get some fucking food and get in there, and then we'll talk to you about making sure you have some place to stay until you can get relocated. Yes! Yeah, it's called immediate needs, you dumb motherfucker. That's right. So the fucking Biden-Harris administration is so fucking good at this, you dipshit. They got money in your hand before your house even fucking sinks. How do you like that? And your dad's payment for this shit was less. He only gave $500 in immediate relief. Right? Why'd your dad only give $500? Why was the immediate cash that they gave out only $500?
They recognize that Donald Trump kept them out of wars. They recognize that my father...
No, he didn't. No, he didn't. Literally, the Middle East war started because of actions taken under Trump. Do we immediately think that all wars start just because somebody flicks something immediately? Or that somebody might go, what the fuck? And then start planning something? Yahweh Sinwar said they planned October 7th specifically after Donald Trump recognized the Golan Heights, moved the embassy, and said Jerusalem is the capital of Israel. And they decided at that point there's not going to be a two-state solution, that the Trump administration and the trend towards in America was that Israel could do whatever the fuck it wants, and they were eventually going to come. So he decided today's the day, and as soon as Iran gives us the go-ahead, we're going to fucking kill as many people as we can. And he said so the day after. He sent a note in Hebrew to Netanyahu and said, hey, let's be friends. We'll have a conditional, truce between the two of us. You start funding money in here, and we'll start acting like the fucking PLO did, and we'll start behaving more like the West Bank. And did they? No, it was a trick, and Trump fell for it because he's a fucking moron. That's what's happening. The Middle East isn't starting now because by the way, it's not directly starting now because even stuff Trump or Obama or fucking Clinton or anybody did. It's been going on for fucking millennia. But the newest outbreak of fighting, literally was like that fuse was fucking lit the day Trump recognized the Golan Heights. And it's why other presidents hadn't done it. It's why they all ran on doing it and were like, wait a second. Once they got in, they're like, yeah, if you do that, then this happens, then this happens. And they're like, oh, well, then never mind. And Trump went, so? I'm not going to be able to fuck it. I don't care. They're going to kiss my ass. I'm going to get a Trump Tower Tel Aviv if it's still there. And fucking Gaza should be a parking lot. Fuck those people. And besides, those murderous Palestinians, they probably got murder in their genes. It's in their genes. You can't teach these people. You can't make them better. There's not going to be a two-state solution. They're monsters. It's an open-air prison? Good. It should be. That's the way he talks about them. He's called the Palestinians in Gaza a cancer, a problem you have to deal with quickly. And I got to tell you, there is no quick way to deal with a military incursion into a heavily populated civil area without killing a bunch of civilians. So if you even say that, what you mean is, I don't give a fuck. Kill as many civilians as you want, but finish it quickly. And anybody who's like, I don't know, the fucking Joe, Genocide Joe, blah, blah, they're all paid assholes. They can't possibly believe any of that shit. You know how deluded and fucked up you have to be to think Donald Trump gives a rat fuck about Palestinians? For real. Do you think there's any hope of a two-state solution if Trump gets in with Netanyahu in place? For real. Ever. That's a one-state solution. West Bank becomes Transjordan or a part of Jordan again, or Israel and Jordan split it up into territories, and Gaza turns into a fucking parking lot until they decide to put condos in. That's what's going to happen if Donald Trump becomes president again. You know how I know? Because he said so, you dumb motherfuckers.
Other cut taxes in ways that no one has ever done, a large tax cuts in the history of this nation.
No, we didn't have the lowest tax cuts in history as a nation. Not even close. It's like the third lowest. And Reagan's beat his. And the ones for individuals were temporary anyways. It was a fucking bait and switch.
They recognized that under my father, they had 2.5% interest rates as opposed to 10% interest rates now.
Right. And if he hadn't fucked up the COVID response, our economy wouldn't have cratered. We wouldn't have to recover where it drove them back up. And the Fed raised interest rates. By the way, 75 basis points in 3 quarters in a row. For all the people like, the 50 basis points, we must be in terrible shape if they're in such a big cut. Like, they raised it 75 basis points every 3 months.
They recognized under my father, inflation wasn't out of control. You could afford to buy a 2x4 at Home Depot. You could afford it.
Look, easy there, King Craftsman. I know you're used to pouring cement, and the rest of us are all new to this whole construction idea. But I don't know if you know this, but Home Depot's numbers are just fine.
Eggs, you could afford bacon.
I can afford bacon. Most people can afford bacon. Costco has a lot of bacon. Lots of it. You know why Costco has a lot of bacon? Because they have overstock. Because production is really fucking high. You know why bacon's more expensive in the United States? Because it's less poisonous. Because it's got fewer toxins in it. Because it's thick cut compared to how other people eat it. That's why.
Right? And they also realize that this man does not need...
My father makes bacon every time he sits down. And I don't even know if you know this, Jesse, but my father is the reason why bacon. He's a bacon machine.
This job and goes out.
He lays eggs. What do you think he's doing when he's dancing like that? If you look down at the bottom of his pants leg, eggs are just rolling out for free because he's an egg machine. My father is like the egg king.
Tirelessly every single day to fight for each and every single one of them. And that's why he's not a politician in their eyes. And that's why they adore him. And that's why they came out in record numbers. And that's why...
Yeah, it's not record numbers. It's record for that space of ground, maybe. That field in Butler for a free event.
Why you had the emotion in that crowd that you had on that night. I mean, their hero almost lost his life,
Corey Comparator actually fucking died. And Trump did not almost lose his life. He could have been killed in theory. But that's true of anybody downrange from those bullets. He was in no more danger than everybody behind him. As a matter of fact, he was in less because he himself was wearing a bulletproof vest, as he always does in these events, as a girdle. And he had people around him, Secret Service, that would jump on him and did jump on him in this situation, which nobody else had who was downrange from those bullets, as you can recognize from the people who are wounded and killed.
Some gunmen almost took him from all of them, and
Oh, you mean that registered Republican dweeb who's a gun nut?
all of us.
How potent was it when Musk
So potent, dude. It was so potent. That's what I would. Yeah.
leaps up there?
It was important and it was potent. It was, what's the word I'm looking for? Impotent.
And says what he said.
Well, you want to talk about another person that has courage, Jesse? It's Elon, right? I mean, he does.
Why?
Does not need to be on that stage, you know, for himself. It probably doesn't help.
Yeah, he does. Yes, he does. He's up to his ass in hinky foreign money too, and he knows that Trump will cover for him. Why is this even a fucking mystery?
His businesses, and yet he does it because he realizes. I mean, he saw. I mean, literally. He saw the back data to Twitter and what they were doing and how they.
Yes, and he doubled down on all of it. He gacked up the algorithm to promote Nazi accounts, and he filled the fucking place with bots. What are you talking about? He literally has made it 10 times worse than what he said it was.
They were working with the government, how they were suppressing people's free speech.
They were not working with the government. They were not suppressing people's free speech. They were doing a pretty good job curtailing sex trafficking on there until he got on there, but...
Hey, they were doing it to you, Jesse, and they were doing it to me. They were doing it
No, they weren't.
to Fox News. They were...
No, they weren't.
They were doing it to everybody who
No, they weren't doing it to anybody.
shared a difference of opinion of them.
No, nobody was getting kicked off of Twitter or being throttled because of a difference of opinion.
And, you know, this is a man who believes in the Constitution. This is a man who
Yes, he believes in suspending parts of the Constitution and eliminating others.
believes in free speech.
Yes, he's a free speech absolutist. He believes that child porn should be legal and everybody should be able to have a machine gun.
And this is a man who's willing to literally put his job and his companies on the line, even if his
His companies? I'm sorry, I'm pretty sure the Saudi royal family owns the controlling stake in Twitter.
detrimental to them to come out and speak the truth. And I give that guy an incredible credit. Not
Yeah, he's sort of like he's like the calculator version of Mike Pillow
Not only
now.
is he a super genius, I mean, he lands a rocket, you know, I mean, every single day, another rocket just shot into the air. He's remarkable in terms of what he's accomplished. But
Yeah, he does none of that. Doesn't design any of this stuff. Literally, it's designed teams. They do all that stuff. They're all basing it, by the way, on NASA material that they came in and just because it was public domain could effectively have access to. They didn't have to start any of their company from scratch. Fuck off.
But you want to talk about a guy with backbone? That's Elon. You don't see that many billionaires going out there and putting their chin out the way he does and jumping
That's his belly, by the way. And what chin?
like that.
Seriously, what chin?
I give him tremendous credit. He's an amazing person.
Yeah, see.
Of course you do, because you need Peter Thiel's money and you need his money, and your dad knows it. And these guys believe that if they can crash the dollar, they can replace it with crypto.
Him up there with your dad and a Kennedy up there with your dad. There's something stirring.
Yeah. Again, let's talk about that Kennedy, shall we? So what's the current count on women he slept with during this most current campaign? I guess we don't count Olivia Nuzzi. They just exchanged sexts and had an emotional affair. So he only fucked 3 women on the campaign trail that we know of, and then he had this affair with Olivia Nuzzi. So, that guy, and I'm not saying that his entire campaign to run for office was just a way of picking up some scattered ass across the country, fucking hippie anti-vaxxer chicks on the regular. Well, yes, I am. Yes, I am. Actually, that is what I'm saying. That's what it actually is. Yeah, yeah.
Everybody can feel it, that's for sure.
Yes, everybody can feel it like a boil. Ladies and gentlemen, if I may, it's HAL Sparks Mega Worldwide. Like, subscribe, give a thumbs up, support the show. I went over again. It's hard not to. The show's supposed to be 2 hours long. We try to do that, 3 to 5, and that's what I try to do. And God damn it, you guys are just too much fun, and there's too much stuff. Just too much stuff for me to cover. I have so many goddamn clips. It's ridiculous. God damn it. Can I do a couple of pieces of the Ingraham interview with Trump? It's not the whole thing. It's in pieces.
When you walked out,
hold on. Can I just? They're short. They're not. I know.
A lot of people here tonight.
Hold on. Shut up, Laura. All right, here we go. All right. It's overtime. HAL Sparks Mega Worldwide OT. Let's do this. This is Donald Trump tells women, I will keep you safe. Thank you, adjudicated rapist who was friends with Jeffrey Epstein for 2.5 decades and who magically died while you were president and he got arrested. Huh. And you wished his madam / girlfriend / sex trafficking recruiter well in jail. We wished her well. He's going to keep you safe, ladies. Oh, and also, unless, of course, you have an ectopic pregnancy and you're bleeding to death in a hospital parking lot. In which case, I guess, fuck you. You shouldn't eat the apple.
A lot of people here tonight, people who are sitting near me in the crowd tonight.
You can smell them. I could smell them. Trying to hold it together.
We're wondering why our priorities seem to be elsewhere. Not that other people don't need help, but very concerned about that.
So we're into almost $300 billion for Ukraine, and yet they're offering people $750
for immediate needs.
For the worst.
Yeah, look at that. For immediate needs. Look at this. Laura Ingraham pulling a fucking 60 minutes. How dare you? Now, granted, she might have just been wanting to do that just so she could make that hand gesture.
Yeah, but for the worst hurricane that anybody's seen. But more importantly than that is...
And by the way, it wasn't. It's not the worst. It's where it hit that made it the worst. It went inland so far, and the damage inland was so bad.
They don't have the people. They're not doing it. It's a very bad thing.
How would you do it differently?
Yes, let's hear it. He'd have a lot more people.
I have a tremendous team of people here. They don't have any people here. The people are all... I was in North Carolina yesterday. I was in Georgia. And Georgia's different. You have a good governor. He's doing a very good job. But North Carolina is a disaster. And it was...
I see. And by the way, North Carolina was hit harder than Georgia. But, you know, let's not factor that in.
Also hit very hard. But they don't have the people. And they're complaining there's no people around to help.
Is that what they're saying? There's no people around to help.
That was a horrific storm, much worse. And, you know, it's late in the season. You wouldn't think a thing like that could happen.
Again, what does that say to you? It's late in the season. You wouldn't think a thing like that could happen. So I guess you think it was completely reasonable that the House Republicans thought, well, we don't need any more funding for hurricane relief because it's late in the season. It's not going to happen. And if he was in office, he would have totally whiffed this as well. What's he saying? Other than somebody would come to his desk and go, well, there's a hurricane coming. And he's like, it's a little late in the season for that shit, right? I got a golf game.
But you have to get the people out, and they have to be out much more. I was there for the entire day, and I saw virtually...
The entire day?
Virtually nobody other than the people who were badly affected. And
he was in an area that had already been cleared out. And they were dealing with people who are directly affected, who are still in harm's way.
One man, he's got a house that's gone, and he's sitting on a rock. He's sitting on...
That's all he did.
A rock. What's gone on there? You have to help him, and you have to help him monetarily also.
You do? Monetarily? How? How do you do that? Give him $100 like that cashier lady that you were friends with?
And it's only, you know, if you look, it's Virginia, It's Alabama. It's it's South Carolina was hit very hard. I spoke to their great governor there, and they were hit very hard. Florida was hit very hard.
Biden said the response has been robust and well coordinated, Mr. President.
Yeah, well, nobody says that. He doesn't know
that's what President
he doesn't
Biden
know
said.
what robust is. He doesn't.
He doesn't know what robust is. That's also his general response to things is whatever Biden says, he'll pick a word. Trump doesn't know what the word robust means now. That's like whenever he's surprised by a word use, he just claims somebody else doesn't know what it means because he doesn't know. It's not registering.
Look, he should be there, and she should be there. She shouldn't be.
They were already there.
At fundraisers. She's at fundraisers, and her teleprompter went off, and she didn't do well with the teleprompter off.
That's happened to me a few times.
Yeah,
by the way.
but you will get through it. It happens to me a lot. When the teleprompter goes off, you have to be able to do it. She didn't get through it, but she shouldn't be there anyway. She should be. I would say North Carolina is bad, is so bad, and
she was there today for 3 hours, I believe. Kamala Harris. But the Democrats accused you of politicizing the storm, even though you got to the storm-ravaged area first.
No. Samaritan's Purse got there. He hitched a ride with them.
But that you were politicizing the storm and that was unfair.
You know, anything...
Well, by the way, by politicizing, they mean he went down there and talked and bitched about it, but didn't actually do anything. If he'd have been there, like if Samaritan's Purse had needed him as a former president to clear the area or to be a liaison, there's no reason why he would need to. They would just reach out to FEMA, which is exactly what they did. If they needed him somehow, like, you know this area, you're from this is your home state or some shit like that, and you know the people down here and these, I don't know, these Appalachian people are up in the hills and they won't come down and stuff, and if you could talk to them and bring them out here, we could really help these people. That would be a way that he could functionally serve. He can't do any of that shit, nor would he. So all he did was politicize it. He hitched a ride down with Samaritan's Purse. He gave a speech and he fucked off. He took pictures and that kind of shit. It was just another trip to Arlington where he could give a thumbs up over a grave site.
I do, they'll say, oh, it's political. If I do anything good, no matter what I do, they'll say, oh.
What'd you do that was good? What'd you do that was good, besides bitch? What happened with the Samaritan's Purse, dispersal of shit where you were that wouldn't have happened if you hadn't been there? One thing. One fucking thing. He didn't pull a fucking bottle of water off and hand it to anybody.
Oh, he did it for politics. I mean, they could have gotten there way before me.
They did by arranging their impact between the people who are local, the National Guard, the governors, and all those folks. They're already there. The funding is already there. That's what backfills the funding for the locals until they send whatever if the governors decide, hey, we need federal help, then those people come in. It's not whether or not they do come in, it's if they're asked for, if they've been requested.
The 40,000 people in North Carolina who have requested absentee ballots, only 1,000 of those have been returned. This is in the hurricane ravaged area of North Carolina. I think Politico just did a piece about this yesterday. How will you in the Republican Party ensure that all voters in hurricane-hit areas have their votes counted? Because this could be a close election. Yeah. Those votes could matter, and all these mainstream publications are saying this now.
Yeah, what if somebody's ID washed away? What if a bunch of people... They were in the house and their wallet or whatever was on the fucking dresser and they just grabbed their phone and ran out and they forgot their wallet or their purse or their ID was in the house and it gets washed away. I guess they can't vote, right?
Republican areas got hit very hard. You know that. It got hit.
Republican areas.
Hit very, very hard. I believe, and many people are dead. You know, many people are dead.
Jesus Christ.
They don't even know what it's going to be in terms of the number. You know, they have hundreds are missing. And I can't really speak to it. I can only say that
hundreds of Republicans, you mean?
I believe they're going to go out and vote if they have to crawl to a voting booth, and that's what's happening.
No, it's not happening. They're not crawling to a voting booth, and they shouldn't have to. And she's asking you how you would make sure. What would you do? And all he's saying is, these fuckers... They're gonna stop worrying about all their entire life being washed away to come vote for me.
Laura's working on it. Other people are working on it, and we're trying to make it convenient for them to. But they just lost their house.
convenient. That's the word I would use.
We're trying to make it convenient for them to go out and vote, but we are doing very well in certain areas that we weren't expected to do. Virginia, we're doing well. We're doing well all over. I think we're going to do great in North Carolina because the response has been so bad to the hurricane. This response has been horrific.
But didn't Elon praise Pete Buttigieg, saying he cleared the way for some of my helicopters to come in? And he praised Buttigieg.
Well, that was 2 days late
yeah.
because what happened is he sent his great, gadgets in. He has the one.
Yeah, the gadgets.
The Starlinks. It's incredible for communication.
Is it what? It's incredible. Is it a communication gadget? Is that what it's for?
But they were asking me, the people of North Carolina and representatives, they said, could you possibly speak to Elon Musk and get it? And Elon came through, and then...
Yeah, the FEMA was already delivering them.
They sent it in, and they wouldn't allow it to go in, and it took 2 days.
Bullshit.
And then Buttigieg, as you say, Buttigieg, called, and I guess after 2 days late, though. And
were they shamed, are you saying, into
Of course they were.
speeding it
It
up?
was huge publicity that they wouldn't allow. He had helicopters.
No, it wasn't. Nobody cared. They were just coordinating shit.
Helicopters bringing stuff in that's not even gettable. You can't even get it.
Yeah, it's not even gettable. It's so cutting edge, but it runs on mud, so...
I mean, honestly, Elon did an amazing job because...
Amazing job with the not gettable stuff that he got. It's not even gettable. You can't even get it.
Because I called them and I told them the situation. They were trying to get it, but you can't, it's very hard to get.
Yeah, it's not gettable. I get it, yeah. I mean, I get what I can get. Some stuff is just not gettable.
I called him, and he had things being delivered literally by the time I got off the phone. I'm even wondering, it was so quick.
Oh, you mean because it was already happening? This asshole.
But then they got there, and they said they're going to confiscate it. They're going to keep it. FEMA said they're going to keep it. They wouldn't terminate it. Then the publicity got crazy.
They wouldn't terminate it?
Crazy, and then all of a sudden they released it.
What is Joe?
No, they didn't. Not at all. None of that happened. That is not what happened at all. All of that is just made up. It's hard to prove a negative with some of this because it's just fucking fantasy, but he's just talking out of his ass.
Biden.
And by the way, he's like 2 days late. They were 2 days late with it. And then stuff goes down there. Well, then that was the day that the stuff went down there. And by the time you got off the phone, it was being delivered. Were you on the phone with that motherfucker for 2 days? Is that what we're saying? Jesus.
I believe on Friday, said that he believes the election will be fair and transparent, but he's not sure it's going to be peaceful. And he walked into the White House briefing room to say that and other things. What do you think he was getting at?
I don't think
Gee, I think he was getting at the fact that it was fair last time and Trump didn't like it and it wasn't peaceful. And he's like, I don't even think he knows what peaceful means.
Referencing some of your rhetoric.
Hold on, wait.
To say that and other things. What do you think he was getting at?
I don't think
he was referencing some of your rhetoric.
I don't think he knows is his go-to, but he couldn't remember what the word she said was, so I don't think she knows. I don't think he knows what words did you say? Whatever. I don't think he knows what you just said. Not that I know, but.
I don't think he knows. I really don't. I think he has no idea what he said. I really don't. I think he's maybe referencing, it could be him.
Referencing? You think it could be him? Referencing?
He said. I really don't. I think he's maybe referencing it. It could be him.
Yeah, reference it. Yeah, he was probably referencing it.
Him. But I don't think he really knows.
Yes, it's going to be him. Yeah, Joe Biden's going to go fucking Wolverine on everybody.
Look, they had a coup. They took it away from him. He's an angry person right now because they took it away. They shouldn't have done that. I'm no fan of his, but they should not have taken it away.
Yeah, because you know you're going to lose to her, and that's a nightmare.
They took his 14 million votes, and they...
No, they didn't. We voted for the ticket. Fuck off. Don't worry about us. If the voters feel this way, they won't vote for her. Fuck off.
Gave it to somebody who they didn't want. They didn't want her because she was last.
Yeah, I like her just fine. She was a great VP. She's been a great VP.
Last on the list.
Who would have been? I mean, do you think?
Well, I
that
don't
was
want to
a
say because
mistake
I'm
on
not
their
looking
part?
to build up somebody, but they had about 12 people, and she was the 13th, and 12 were better. All 12.
But do you think they made a mistake? I mean, do you think they made a political mistake?
Well, I'll
in
tell
this?
you on November 6th.
Jesus Christ. They made a political mistake. They picked somebody who's totally unpopular, who only got no percent and dropped out early, and nobody liked her, and it was a coup, and nobody likes her, and she's unpopular and stuff. Oh, great. So why are you neck and neck with her? Why are you tied? If she's the most unpopular person, why is she tied with you? Why is this race close at all? If anything you're saying is true. And why is she gaining in a bunch of areas where she wasn't, where Biden wasn't expected to win? And why is she overtaking you as we get closer to the election? And why is the Democratic get out the vote situation way humming right along and there is no Republican machine?
I can't tell you. I mean, she's not doing very well right now. We're going up, and you see that. We're leading in most of the polls and all. But we were up by 21 points. We were really beating. We had the debate with Biden, and after that,
And you're not now. So again, this goes back to her question. Was this a mistake, you weirdo?
We had this, I think, insurmountable lead. Then I had to do it all over again. Think of this. You're
boo fuckity who? Why? You think there's a giant policy and position difference between her and Biden? Good Lord.
like in a fighter. You're a fighter.
Magoo.
And they come out.
It's not like a fighter. It's more like tag team wrestling because you both have two.
And the fighter's getting beaten badly, and they say, we'll take that fighter out. We'll give you a new fighter now. That's what happened to me. This can only happen to me.
I see. So you're just exhausted is what you're saying? You've thrown all your best punches. You got a cut above your eye. You're saying, cut me, Mick. You got nothing left in the tank, and they brought in a fresh fighter, and you're like, fuck, I'm going to lose. Is that what you're saying? Because that's what it sounds like you're saying.
But Kamala
But we're
Harris,
doing well now.
the lawfare that continues to.
Oh, edit. Look at that edit. Hold on. Back the fuck
It
up.
happened to me.
But Kamala
But we're
Harris,
doing well now.
the lawfare that continues to be waged
See that
against
edit?
you. It's almost every time you're up in the polls, something else comes down.
Or it could be that he keeps putting these things off, and then there's because we have, regular order rules in court and in the justice system in this country that you can't put stuff off forever. And every time he puts something off, he runs out of runway closer to the election because he's an idiot.
On a personal level, how do you deal with that? Just processing it, supersede.
Yeah, I can answer this one. He isn't. There's nothing going on upstairs at all. He's not processing any of this. This is lizard brain shit. He might as well be sitting on a rock looking at a fly with big tits going there's no he doesn't get up in the morning and have a philosophical or ethical or moral conundrum in his head. Those fucking switches were blown a long time ago.
Indictment. Another memo comes out.
From a
another
deranged
former aide,
lunatic, this
another
guy
former
Jackson.
aide says this or that. So how do you, on a personal level, deal with it?
Well, what's happened is it's been totally discredited. The biggest case was in Florida. We won the case in its
No, you haven't.
entirety. We're leading in most of the other cases, and a couple of them are just.
We're leading in most of the cases. Motherfucker, you have sentencing in November.
Really bad judges that are, Democrat judges, Democrat areas. But I have many cases.
So you do realize that if you're saying you're doing, you're having a hard time in areas where they have a Democrat judge, that the case that was thrown out temporarily, was dismissed temporarily, was because you appointed that judge your fucking self. So why isn't that sort of a wash at the very least?
It's all what they did is they said, let's go after this guy. And
because he's no longer president and he's still committing crimes.
Let's cost him a lot of money, but more importantly, a lot of time and a lot of thought.
I see. So, which one do you think he has the least left over? I think he's got less money left over than he has time or thought. But I do realize that the gas tank of time and thought is on E as well. I think it's sort of a race to the bottom in all three categories. Which will he run out of first? Just saying.
Will you restore faith in our justice system? A lot of people will say, well, he's just going to do to them what they did to him and get back at them. And
a lot of people.
I probably should
say that's what should happen.
Well,
you want to know the truth.
Right.
Yeah, listen to these fuckers. This is not a good idea, Laura.
Well, but I think.
Look at this. Look at this. Like a fucking winner.
You know, punitively using government institutions is what got us in this mess in the first place. And our town hall that we did back in February, one of the lines that really resonated, I think, with people is when you said, "My revenge is going to be my success."
Yeah, well, I do believe that, but I will say this:
No! Take the win, you dumb motherfucker! She's trying to help you. They're trying to clean this up. They arranged for this. Your fucking dumbass sons and your daughter-in-law arranged for this shit so Laura could fucking cone your fucking dumbass jet into the gate with her 2 fucking red lights and make sure you don't crash into the jetway. Don't this way, not that way.
have started a terrible precedent.
They have, yeah. So, I mean, it's not up to me to stop it. What am I supposed to be, the bigger person? Fuck them.
We've never had this. We do have that in third world countries, banana republics, a lot in South America where they go after somebody politically that's an opponent. We never...
Yeah, but you wouldn't be alive right now if that was true, at all. I mean, you just wouldn't.
Never had it to any great extent.
Shit, you wouldn't even be in the country.
Really, almost at all.
You'd be deceased and out of the country.
But you're not going to do that. When you get in office, you're going to look at all your political enemies.
No, I want to make this the most successful country in the world. That's what I want to do.
All right, we're good. We're it already. We're good. Seriously, the United States is the most successful country in the world. Still got work to do because we can do better, but we're better than everybody else at all this shit.
And so for all the women out there who, maybe don't like this tweet or this joke or this...
Women. You do realize Roe v. Wade is gone. We're this close to getting rid of your right to vote, lady. Women.
Nickname. Tonight, what do you say to them about the safety of our homeland?
I say to...
I will save you from everything except your own womb.
The women, and I think I do very well with the women, actually. I think it's...
Mm-hmm. Ugh. I've not read Melania's book, but I don't think that's true.
A lot of fake polling. I think I do very well because I say, I will keep you safe. I'm not going to allow prisoners to come out from Venezuela and many other countries all over the world, the Congo,
blacks, the black guys, black prisoner guys with their big dangly bits, ladies walking around your neighborhood. Jesus.
The Middle East, they come out from the Congo in tremendous numbers. They're coming out of the Middle East, Yemen, and lots of countries that aren't particularly friendly to us. I'm going to keep you safe. I'm not going to let people hurt you. I'm going to have a very strong...
They were bugged by that, the protector line. Like some of the... people went crazy about that. He said he's going to be my protector. That's looking down on us. So that's patronizing.
I'm looking up at them.
Yes, that's true. He's upskirting the women of America.
I'm going to protect men too. It's my job to protect as president. They don't protect right now. When they let 13,099 criminals, murderers, these are people in prison, some getting ready for the death penalty, and they allowed them to come into our country.
Yeah, a lot of those happened during your presidency, dum-dum.
When I get them out and when I say it's not happening and when I close the...
Wait. So you're going to take death row inmates who we caught in the United States that are not citizens, but are guilty of multiple murders, like violent felons. And what you're going to do is just drop them off in an unfriendly country to do what? Buy another plane ticket? What do you mean?
The border so that bad people, we want people in our country, but they have...
Also, they fly in, these fuckers that you're talking about.
Have to be people that are capable of loving our country and that are good people. They have to go past tests. So...
Yeah, what's the love our country test? What do you hook up electrodes to their genitals, or?
I say to people, and I'm not ashamed of that. I saw a couple of wise guys on the left saying, "Oh, who is he?" I want to protect women. I'm going to.
I would like to say, as a wise guy on the left, I did not say, oh, who is he? I was like, you're fucking gross. You're an adjudicated rapist, and the idea that you're going to be the protector of women when you've set up a situation where women are dying of ectopic pregnancies and miscarriages and stuff in all over the country is an absurdity. And you disgust me. I didn't go, oh, those are fuck.
I'm going to protect women, and I'm going to protect men, and I'm going to protect children. And that's my obligation to do it with the military and with law enforcement.
100 years.
Look at that fucking edit. Chop it around much? What the fuck did he say after that? That Fox was like, nope.
And that's my obligation to do it with the military and with law enforcement.
100 years from now.
Look at that slice. They weren't even trying.
We'll probably all not be here.
Did they get no fucking cutaways of the folks there or anything like that to just cover some of these edits?
How do you want to be remembered?
As a monument to a circus peanut that had a deep and loving relationship with Pat Robertson and aged mentally and physically like gas station sushi on a windowsill, and whose stench will be remembered forever and ever. Something like that?
I think somebody that really worked hard and turned a country around that's going bad. This country's going bad. We're not going to have a country, or certainly we're not going to have a country like this. So more than anything else, I think I want to have...
Should they cut out part of that?
Somebody say for a long time from now and in a short time from now, he was able to make America great again.
Scale of 1.
He wasn't able to do his makeup, though. And the stress is definitely causing a lot of thinning in this general area, which is very telling. He was able to make America great again, but he also had a propensity for slamming his face in a bowl of Cheeto dust.
1 to 10, this rally. What was it?
This was something really special. Well, this was love. This was pure love. I think it was maybe on a scale of 1 to 10, it was a 12.
I knew it was.
Thank you.
Really? Not a 13 or a 15 or 1,000 or 100? I mean, on a scale of 1 to 10, it was just a 12? That's kind of sad. That's not very good at all. By the way, he also had another... They put this out in chunks. Here's the other chunk they released. And I gotta say, they edited the fuck out of this thing. I'm shocked.
Out and Lee Greenwood was singing.
Oh,
yeah, that never
I've known
happens.
you for 20 plus years, a long time. And I looked at you, and there was an emotional moment where, like, I think people around me were starting to tear up. Were you close to tearing up at that moment?
Well,
no. Because you have to understand, Laura, tears are for weak women and even weaker men.
If I admitted that, I think I'd lose a lot of votes. I'm not supposed to.
That's so fucking weird. And it does point to something, that he believes that part of his success is on this bullshit facade of masculinity that like is nowhere near real. Somebody who's a toxic masculinity. I don't consider him masculine even in the traditional obvious sense. I mean, even think about all the things that make up quote unquote an alpha male. He's none of those fucking things. Can't drive a car, fucking golfs, can't like imagine this motherfucker climbing a ladder, much less riding a fucking bicycle. He doesn't lift weights, he doesn't work out. His physique's fucking shit. He looks like, you know, like a melted dreamsicle, right? He wears fucking caked on foundation makeup. He's got a comb over. He, you know, intermittently dyes his hair poorly, right? He's got a nunt and a gut, and like he's got like the most alpha male thing about him is that he changes wives on the regular, and you know, as long as you know they keep up their looks, they can stick around, and then he'll move on to the next one. That's the thing they think is the most alpha male about him. But everything is about himself, even his business, like, is shit. There's nothing like He's got drive. He gets up and complains like a whiny little bitch every morning, and he goes to bed whining like a little bitch every morning. Like, there's nothing fucking alpha male about this asshole at all. Otherwise, they wouldn't have to make those fucking Rocky poster things of his, right? That's a sign you aren't an alpha male, is that they have to put your head on Rocky's body. If you were an alpha male, they wouldn't have to do that.
Do you want a president that cries? I don't think so. So I'll say
You're not a president.
Absolutely not.
The ride to the hospital from here, take us in the car.
What did it smell like? Well, as I was, the car, there were a lot of elements in the windows where, even thinking about it, I couldn't see very well. There was like a haze that was pretty, and there was, I don't know if it was the odor of the angel of death that followed me around, and I was like, and something like that.
Well, there was a lot of blood, and when...
Oh my God. Because the ear bleeds, blah, blah, blah.
I was down.
We're not talking about in your stool.
And bullets were flying over my head. I noticed tremendous amounts of blood. But
yeah, again, I gotta say, that's not a tremendous amount of blood. He's definitely bleeding, but I thought he had fallen on his ear and scratched it. Like, it didn't look like even a head wound bleeds. Anybody had a fucking head wound in their life? I know I have. Fucking, especially up here past the hairline or the side of your head or whatever. It's scary. It's a lot of fucking blood because your body wants to shut that shit down as fast as it can. So it just fills it with blood so it coagulates. You put pressure on it and then it just, like, fucking biggest scabs you'll have as well are going to be in that area. And considering it's not a lot of blood. There's none on his fucking collar. There's none on his hand. Right? Look at this. It's almost shockingly little blood on. He's wearing this white shirt. He's got his fucking white sleeve. His skin is an orangish white. And there's these two streaks coming from the edge of his fucking ear. That's not a lot of blood. At all.
But I felt it's very, they talk.
Look at that. That's not a bunch of blood. That's pretty minor. That just shows me that you've never actually, like, you've lived such a privileged fucking life. You've never had, besides, I guess, his scalp reduction surgery and his liposuction, which he was not awake for. He's never seen, like, he doesn't do anything where he can get cut. Right?
Talk about surreal. It wasn't surreal. I had total understanding of where I was. And
wait a minute. What do you think surreal means? What? Hold on. What's his point? I hope he fills in the... But what?
The Secret Service people were very brave because I got down. I think people were shouting maybe or whatever, but I got down...
Yeah, whatever. I don't know.
Pretty fast. I was always impressed with that. I got down fast. If I didn't get down that fast, that would have been a second miracle. But they were flying right over my head. And you could hear them. I didn't know you could hear bullets. You can hear. They're whizzing by at 4,000 miles an hour or something. But...
Or something.
I think that more than anything else, they wanted me to go out by stretcher, and I didn't like that. I had a lot of people watching. I don't want that. But also, and I thought...
Also, what? No, they didn't. What? When did that come up? We heard him, like, get my shoes, like, is what we heard. We didn't hear fucking, all right, we're going to need a stretcher, get him over, like... Nonsense. This was a conversation afterwards. Like with Don Jr. This is just bullshit.
They did a great job.
Because the president has to look...
Well, I don't want to go out. I felt that I was hit in the ear. And it...
Really? What gave you that idea?
Felt like the top of the ear.
You mean where it actually hit? You felt it, did you? So you had an injury and you felt it where you had the actual injury. Jesus Christ. Do you need any more examples of how this guy has lived such a privileged life? He has no idea what like physical, like, you think this guy's ever hit his fucking thumb hammering in a nail to hang a picture? For real. Like, he doesn't even understand that. Yeah, tell me about your ear again. Yeah, Cory Comparator's fucking family is looking at a fucking picture of his on the mantle now. But tell me again about your little ear.
Grazed my ear, but it was really bloody. And the Secret
No, it was not.
Service people, and rightfully thought I was hit on 3 or 4 places because there's so much blood. Because the
no, that's not what they thought.
Ear bleeds, or whatever. They say cartilage. The doctor at Butler said cartilage.
Is that what he said? Cartilage. Yeah, that's what it is. Your cartilage has so many veins in it. Fuck me. No, he didn't. He said it's cartilaginous. There's cartilage in the area, but it doesn't bleed because of the cartilage. It's because of the veins in there. It's because of the blood flow around the cartilage. The cartilage itself doesn't hold blood, you weirdo.
And they say because of cartilage. The ear
No, not because of... Nobody says because of cartilage, you fucking weirdo.
bleeds more than any other part of the body. There was blood all over the place.
No, nobody says that. This is so odd.
And I really thought that only was hit in the ear. So they said, sir, you were hit in other locations. And they're going all over my body. They probably realized what a body this guy had. But they're going all over. And they didn't find... I said, look, I'm not going on a stretch. And get me up. I wanted my shoes. Because...
Because people would see the lifts in them?
What was it with the shoes? They hit me. No, when they went down, they hit me so hard that for some reason, I think they were going at a different angle. Both shoes were off.
Are you wearing those shoes today?
It's different, but it's sort of similar, but it's sort of a little different. I have it. Those shoes are loaded up with lots of blood. I'm not...
What? What are you talking about? Jesus Christ, man. Your ear got clipped, you dumb motherfucker. You didn't get stabbed in the abdomen. Your shoes weren't bloody, stupid.
I'm not looking to wear them again.
Oh, yeah? You want them to be in the Trump Museum, the Trump Shooter Museum? Good Lord. Leslie, thank you so much for that. Appreciate it. Thanks for the Venmo's right there in case anybody uses Venmo and they want to support the show. Throw me a cup of coffee, something like that. That's the way you would do it. And also super chats available. I haven't talked about this stuff in a long time because I'm too busy giving the performance of a lifetime on the greatest live stream that exists and being as HAL Sparks, and HAL Sparks. And also, just so you know, your body doesn't bleed because of cartilage. It's not cartilage that holds all the blood in your body. It's just capillaries is what is. There's a lot of capillaries in the ear and the head, and the skin on the head, and so that's why it bleeds a lot. It's not the cartilage, capillaries, not cartilage. Just saying.
But they got me to the car. I thought they did a very good job. Some people say slow. I don't think slow. They got me to the car, and I think I might have been holding them back. My first instinct was to finish my speech. It's crazy, isn't it? Isn't that a crazy instinct? I'm pouring, but they didn't live. That's where they put their foot down. They got me to the car. I got in. I did a little talking, not much. 2 very, very good people. Sean is fantastic, but 2 very, very good people. And they got me to the hospital. It was so professional. Everything was... Look, they had a bad moment with the building, a bad moment.
How long did it take in the car, approximately?
7, 8 minutes, very quick. And the hospital was great. And I didn't realize this. I never knew they did. When a president goes to an area, they close a hospital in its entirety. It's ready for exactly this. I didn't know they did that, but they did.
Okay. They do not shut down hospitals because the president is in the area. And they certainly don't shut it down for former presidents and presidential candidates. The hospital was not closed for fucking business because you had a fucking rally nearby, you absolute dink. No. You didn't realize that because it doesn't happen.
So the hospital, I got there, the doctors were outside, the nurses, and no people. They literally close it and almost...
They literally don't. They seal off the area you're in and they move people out of the emergency area. They don't shut down the fucking hospital.
Like they expect this. No, it's a genius thing, but you would never do. Who would ever think that? And I was so impressed. They got me in, and they took care of it. Butler Hospital did a fantastic job.
They did. They're good with ears. They're good with cartilage. It's a big place for. So they have a cartilage specialist there.
The doctors were amazing, and also
really they're amazing doctors that could treat a clipped ear.
So amazing on the other.
You don't feel embarrassed that they moved people out that probably had like appendix bursting and all kinds of shit so they could deal with your clipped ear?
2 gentlemen that were hurt very badly. They thought they weren't going to live, and they ended up living, and I think they'll be very healthy
David
again.
And James.
Mm-hmm.
They were very, very good people, good Trump supporters.
They were?
Supporters, and we took good care of them. I mean, they took 2 hard shots. They were not supposed to make it, and not only did they make it, they really came out. I think they're going to be 100%. But
they're not going to be 100%. Oh my gosh, thanks for the overtime bonus. That's really sweet. Good Lord. Who's that? Chris, thank you so much for the super chat.
Corey didn't make it, and I felt we had an obligation to Corey to come back here and help him out. We raised a lot of money through different things, but we raised a lot of money for the family, and they deserve it for what they've gone.
Yeah, you didn't give any, Mr. Billionaire.
Through. They really...
Not a fucking penny.
They really had a great father and great husband. And
when you saw them for the first time today, again,
Yeah.
since that horrific day, what was that like?
Well, it was amazing. The daughter's beautiful, 2 young girls, and a beautiful mother.
All right. Yeah, I'm creeped out now. What the fuck? Their dad and their husband is dead. I don't want to hear your assessment of their fucking looks.
And they're at the bottom of the plane. I get off, and they're the first people I greeted and met. And I knew them from before, of course, from the tragic event. But they're having a hard time.
Look at this shit. Look at him. Looking at that, like. If anybody at Fox liked him at all, they would cut the shot off here. But this is Dan Scavino's account. This is the guy who runs used to run Trump's Twitter account, and now posts a lot of the stuff on X, right, and on Truth Sinkhole as well. You'd cut this part off, right? You'd show it like this. Even frame it like that. Like that's what you'd want. But Scavino wants credit because he wants to show this when Trump sees this, Scavino wants Trump to know that he put that guy there. And this footage is going to end up in a fucking book.
Actually, they're having a very hard time. It was so crazy. The whole thing was just a crazy time. And
yeah, thank God he's got such a great vocabulary and dealing with the depth of pain that people are dealing with. It's so crazy. It was such a crazy time. It's wacky.
We had to sort of come back and complete the circle.
Had to sorta?
Circle. And that's what...
Had to come back and sorta complete the circle. Fuck. And also the Iraq.
What we did, even the way I started, I sort of said, like, here we are. Let's go.
What was the first...
Is that what you said? Here we are. Let's go. Just the 3 of us. No, you didn't. The line was... as I was saying, but I think he just forgot the magic line he was going to say. He can't remember what he was going to say. You could tell. Look at his face. As I was going to say what the line that I was going to say when I was like something. It's not coming. Laura, you're supposed to say it. You mean as I was saying? As I was saying. Yes, everybody loves that, right? Everybody, as I was going, a lot of people will say.
I think Melania
Well,
said to you.
she was watching it on television. She was.
No, she was not.
Watching it. I think she paused it for a couple of minutes, and somebody.
Yes, she paused it, and was like, "Ugh, early." Early in the fuck. It's happened like 6 minutes in. That means she paused it at like 3 minutes. She was like, "Enough." She didn't pause it and fucking do other stuff. You don't pause the fucking speech magically about the time he's going to be shot. She turned it off. she was watching something else. And when she came back, when somebody was like, he's been shot, he's fine, but somebody took a shot at him and somebody else got hit and da-da-da. And then she turned on and watched it over and over and over again.
She called and she ran to the television.
She ran to the television to watch the replay of it where she said, I didn't know what had happened. And when she already had been told what had happened.
She's great. Look, she had a bigger problem. She had a problem with how does Barron take it. You know, Barron was playing tennis with his friends, and somebody walked over and ran over and said, your father's been shot. He's been shot, Barron. And Barron really likes his father a lot. And
wait a minute. Somebody shot the security guard at the Tiffany's in Trump Tower? I didn't realize. I mean, I guess the fact that you were clipped in the ear. Wait a minute. Holy shit. She had an affair with one of the 3 people that was hit at the... Wait.
So does Eric, Don, Tiffany, Ivanka, the whole group. But
they all love their dad, whoever he is, whatever that phrase is. Who the fuck talks about their family that way? It's so odd. You're so weird.
I've been a good father to the kids.
Have you? I want to be remembered as a guy who was as good a father as any father should be, because guys shouldn't do that shit.
How is he doing in college?
He's doing great. He's always a great student. Barron's a very good student. He's a tall student also, by the way. Pretty.
Must be genetics.
Tall student, but he's a great boy. And he came in, Mom.
He's a tall student and a great boy. That's... You know, that's what I like most about Trump, I think, is just how closely knit his family is. Or, you know, I think he said his family was very tightly knit. Well knit, that's what he said. He was like, I come from a family that was very well knit.
Oh, Mom, what happened? So, and then they saw me get up, and then they saw the fist bump. You know, it's very interesting. When I got...
No, they didn't. They heard about it so far afterwards that everybody knew that he was okay, that it had happened and all this kind of shit, that he'd already left. By the time they saw any of it, it wasn't like watching Tower 2 fall or some shit. They watched it. They didn't watch it in real time, so they knew what was going to happen before it actually happened in every sense. They knew you were already okay and on your way to the hospital.
Got up. People thought maybe he's dead because, you know, they lifted, and they're very strong guys. They can get you up fast. But I said, I'm not going to go anywhere. And I convinced them I thought I was only hit in the ear. It's very interesting. But they got me up, and I watched, and it was dead silent, even though I was standing up and in vision, because people didn't know I was alive or not. And
by the way, you can hear people yelling and clapping. There's some people talking. There's still people like yelling that he's not safe and all this kind of stuff. There's cameras clicking all over the place. There's a bustle of an entire crowd. It wasn't silent at all.
And then when I did the fist pump, everybody realized, and they're screaming, USA, USA. It was the craziest day. It was a crazy time.
Oh, it was crazy. Back in the crazy. We were such crazy kids back in the craziness. Jesus Christ. Yeah, it was crazy. It was wild. You know, those were the days, and you know you were then. My Lord. And can I remind everybody that this motherfucker said at one point at the RNC, I'm going to speak of this once and I will never speak of it again. And then, of course, like everything else, bullshit. Thank you guys for tuning in to, an extra hour and 15 minutes. You know, I'm sorry, not sorry for my Midwestern goodbye. This is HAL Sparks Mega Worldwide, the greatest live stream in the history of live streams, bar none. Sorry, everybody else. I know other people are trying to live stream. You fucking done, son. This is it. This is the only one who can take long form pieces, not cut little chunks together, hide behind just using the clippy parts and only going with that. I am the dude who can do the whole clip, and it's all still as entertaining as you and your little snippy pieces. So there. Anyways, it's good stuff. HAL Sparks Mega Worldwide. Like, subscribe, give a thumbs up, support the show. Tomorrow, we have a morning show. And then the afternoon show, mornings at 9 a.m., Hal Sparks Mornings Mega Worldwide. And then the afternoon is Hal Sparks Mega Worldwide. And then regular show on Thursday. And then Friday, I fly to Kansas City for the Sexy Liberal show. And I will be in Kansas till Wednesday. I'm going to stick through there and visit with some family. And so I will be doing my shows on the regular, but I will be Airbnb-ing it. So wish me luck. So, and we should have, hold on. Well, let's see. I have to say, Chip was napping on the stairs when I went out before. Let me check. Hold on. Real quick.
What's happening? There she is. There she is. Here she is. There she is.
This is Maddie, everybody. I tried to get Molly, but she ran away. And Chip is asleep in his little nest, which he is too big for, but he won't come out. So Molly the Flop is here. So, Maddie the Flop. Yeah, Maddie the Flop is here. Listen. Oh, there she goes. Yeah, there you go. Maddie's just a sleepy girl. She's like, I just want to be here and just go to sleep on you. And I just want to be here. So this is Maddie. Maddie girl. There she is. Sleepy girl. Yeah. She just wants to hang out. Yay. And somebody was asking about Texas Paul or something earlier. I love Texas Paul, and I would love to have him back on again, but he's very busy, and we live stream, and he's working hard, and so am I, and stuff like that. So, hi, Texas Paul. And Boston Brian, you're awesome. I hope you're feeling better. Love you. And for me and Maddie, to everybody out there who likes and supports the show, thank you, Luis, for the super chat. Thank you, JD Christie, for the super chat. Thanks for Vincent for the members, for being a member for that long. Thank you, Barbara, for the like. Look at this. You guys are wonderful. I will leave you with this. Hold on. I'm just worried. I just don't want Maddie to have to experience the kidney is my problem.
The kidney has a very special place in the heart.
Whew, that was scary. You okay, Maddie? You gonna be okay, girl? I think you are. I think you'll be okay, girl. I think so. See you guys tomorrow. Hype train. Don't forget HAL Sparks podcast, Mega Worldwide. Subscribe today.